I'm like, you like take that for granted or what? And he was like, yeah, I probably do now. That's so like, it's just, can you imagine that?
Swaka, tell a joke.
Yeah, yeah.
Can you tell me a joke?
Be funny,
Make
man.
me laugh, funny boy. Yeah. Oh shit.
All right, well, Rally Towel Sports family, good evening. Welcome to the show. Wow. Week 3 in the NFL reflected week 2 in the NFL. We had a lot of surprises. We had a lot of performances that jaws were dropped for good reasons and bad reasons. It was nuts, and we'll dive into it here. But gentlemen, how is everybody doing this evening?
I'd like to address something non-football related before we get into it. That's the audacity of the city of Cleveland, I think, is something that needs to be talked about. Just catching strays out here, and
what, Cincinnati's in Kentucky? Is that what we're talking about? Or
and you beat a sub 500 team, and come on. We just fired our manager. We just got fucking rolled on Monday Night Football. Give us a minute, dude. Give us a minute.
Cleveland sleeps for nobody. They don't give a fuck.
Dude, I was like, all right, Ohio Unity. I'm gonna root for Cleveland in the playoffs. I hope they do really well. Now, I'm not saying I want their bus to go off a cliff, but I'm not saying that. I'm not.
No, we don't want that. We don't want that.
Don't want that. I don't want a Marshall. That's not what I'm saying. All right. You know what I mean? That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying
Jesus
that, Todd.
Christ.
I'm not saying that.
What the fuck?
He's not saying it, guys.
I'm not saying it. I feel hurt. I was hurt. And this is the world we live in today. It's time to when they go low, I'm gonna go lower. You know what I mean?
Low man wins.
Yeah, low man wins.
What did your coach say? What did your coach say when he was trying to calm the fucking fans down?
What?
What was it like in like the 90s where he says like?
He's referring to Sam Weish jumping on the PA system, telling everyone to stop throwing things on the field. You don't live in Cleveland. You live in Cincinnati. That, however, why did he say that, Aaron?
That was funny. And
Josh, thank you for liking the video, brother.
Why did he say it?
By the way, I am as you can clearly tell, this is not my normal digs. I'm on the road. Rally Towel on the road. Did no interviews. Didn't do
Might need to make that a series. Rally Towel on the road.
What are we talking about?
Oh, so the
baseball
team formerly known as the Indians. Well, no, they won the Ohio Cup and clinched the division.
Yes.
And they all wore shirts that say Cincinnati is in Kentucky in the locker room.
I did see that. Yeah, okay.
Spraying champagne. And I felt like I was one of those Sarah McLachlan commercials. It's I was one of those dogs chained to a pole. Just wanting love. That's all I wanted.
Bobby, those are good vibes, baby.
Boom! Somebody just came and fucking hit me right in the fucking head and said, "You won't have a home."
Objectively funny. Also, if the Reds were doing well this season and the Guardians weren't, we've always said this about baseball, Corey. Like, I can actually root for you guys. We see each other 4 times a year.
Yeah, 100%. I just felt hurt.
That's actually some solid ribbing, if we're being honest.
Also, Kentucky, I think, if you've taken some time through Kentucky, I think not like take politics and education aside.
Northern Kentucky's great.
Just look at geography alone.
I lived in Northern Kentucky for like 2.5 years, and
beautiful place.
Absolutely fucking loved it. So.
Cheap cigarettes.
Yeah, like tobacco was cheap, alcohol was cheap.
Breaking news from ESPN.
Oops,
darts on sale in Kentucky.
Yeah. Good timing. Wait, if you think about it.
That came from Ari Merov, right? I just saw that. Hell yeah.
It's just weird that you can like fly in Kentucky and not be in Ohio, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's like flying to Cincinnati and not be in Ohio.
Or that's right.
Yeah, EVG is literally like what,
It's short
half a
for
mile
Covington.
from the border.
It's short for
Yeah,
Covington.
it's short for Covington.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, sure, they had the land available, but like, you know,
I mean,
I don't
that's
know if you guys
every
have been to
airport.
CVG recently,
That's
but
some
they
solid
have
ribbing.
expanded it, and it is fucking massive.
Really? Oh, it's
Yeah,
a
dude, I
great
had Skyline
airport now.
breakfast.
I just
Yeah,
think that's
I had
the
Skyline
perfect
breakfast,
amount of
guys.
shit talk.
I have not had it yet. Please do tell.
Skyline
Sure.
breakfast. If you want to shit
Yeah,
your
yeah,
pants
yeah.
at all points in the day.
So they
Yeah,
have a
so-
burrito that's literally like eggs, hash browns, chili, and cheese.
Yeah, it's
Right.
just a breakfast.
Have you
burrito.
ever at the end of the day just been like, I gotta shit my fucking brains out?
Yeah.
Well, why not do it at 6 a.m?
Right?
It was
Get it out of
7:15,
the way.
but same difference. Yeah,
Get it
yeah,
out of
yeah,
the
yeah,
way.
So you sleep in a little, Todd.
Yeah.
Have you ever
Yeah,
drank
so-
13
We
IPAs
gotta
in a
break
night
out the
and wanted to blame it on something else?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I had the nervous shits before flying. It had nothing to do with the chili cheese breakfast burrito. Also, they make these little like breakfast.
How is that a
conies
breakfast
with-
burrito? That's just a regular burrito.
There's
Well,
hash
sure
browns
it's,
in it.
it's
breakfast.
eggs. It's eggs,
Hash browns
Oh,
and eggs.
Oh,
hash
okay,
browns and
okay.
eggs, and then chili and cheese. So
Okay.
the eggs and
Yeah.
the hash browns make it breakfast.
It'd be like if Taco
yeah.
Bell's like, here's our new breakfast menu, the beefy 5-layer breakfast burrito, and it's just a beefy
That's
5
basically
layer
what it is.
served
It's a-
during breakfast time.
A chicken
Cheese
quesadilla.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cheese
It
conies,
has a
sub
tortilla.
the dog for a breakfast sausage. It was
Ooh,
fine.
Massage. I like that.
Yeah, it was good.
Have you guys
It was
ever
good.
done ecstasy and eggs? It's a breakfast thing.
If anybody's having any trouble in the bathroom, just go get those fucking mission wraps that are at Kroger that are like high
Yeah.
fiber, like
The carb
and-
balance ones.
Yeah, just eat like 4 of those, and
You'll be fine.
you will not have any problems.
It's
believe me.
Metamucil. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Metamucil at that point.
We have digressed. All right.
Yeah.
Um,
to
Sports
clear it off,
podcast.
the CVG is fucking massive now.
Yes, it is
It's huge.
huge. Absolutely.
Yeah,
It is pretty impressive. They're still doing renovations on it, but it's way bigger than I remember it. So that's what she said. Anyways, all right. We're gonna dive into surprises from week 3. Aaron, lead us off. Like, what was your biggest holy shit from last week?
How bad the tight end position is right now in football is weird. Like, I feel like we've tried to get to this point where we have these giant fucking athletes and we're going to move them over the big middle of the field. Last year we had Sam Laporta show up big. We had all the other rookie tight. It was the first time rookie tight ends showed up in a big way, and then we have the Andrew Luck of tight end prospects coming into the league this year in Brock Bowers, and he's doing okay. But it's really weird that defense has seemed to shut this down. And I think the big story and maybe the subtext of that is just defense is back in a big way in the NFL.
So I guess we do need to there's 2 kind of subsets to this. Obviously we've seen a lot of this too high safety, Tampa 2 defense throughout the course of this, as far as 3 weeks through the season. But yeah, we've also seen some pretty stellar defense, across the board. We've had some blowouts here and there, but for the most part, there has not been a ton of scoring in a lot of these games. So what would you guys really attribute that to?
I think we kind of talked about it a little bit last week. Teams are still kind of finding the groove, and I think we will see offense, continue to get better as these teams move away from preseason activity, meaningful snaps in the preseason, and basically these first few games we're still trying to figure things out. But my biggest surprise is it took place in Minnesota, and it's not the Vikings. But I knew, I felt like we all talked about Houston, falling back to earth a little bit this year. But I was just so surprised at how inept the Houston offense was.
Yeah.
That for almost the entirety of the game. They started down bad. We all knew that, or we all talked about, CJ Stroud's going to come back to earth. Like, this offense is not going to be able to do what it did last year, but we still felt like it was going to be able to move the ball. They put up 7 points.
I would like to ask this question just because of a comment that I saw from a different team. So Josh Allen said, it's really fun to play football when people want to win and they're not focused on stats. That was very, very largely directed at Stephon Diggs.
Yeah.
How much of an, like, I was dead set on Stephon Diggs having a gigantic negative impact on the Houston Texans. How much do you guys believe that Stephon Diggs is at fault for changing the culture in Houston and obviously throwing a wrench in that very, very high-powered offense that we did see last season? Todd, I'd like to hear from you on this one.
Yeah, so I think that I don't know if necessarily what I've seen so far from Houston in 3 weeks is attributed around ego, right? I think a lot of it is you're finally seeing teams. They made the adjustment. It took a year, but teams are making adjustments. The Texans playbook last year, and correct me if I'm wrong, was fairly limited, fellas. It's chop, 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 bomb, right? It started with Tank Dell. Tank Dell went down. Then it went to Nico Collins. Noah Brown had some big games that coupled with that as well. And I think teams are kind of just taking away. And again, this kind of goes back to, the 2 high safety or, kind of the cover 2 thing that's Mel Kiper's made a big deal about that people seem to be discussing a lot. Sure. Is cover 2 takes away, 70% of those deep balls because you're almost guaranteed it. One-on-one coverage is very limited. I don't think Stephon Diggs is the root cause of Houston slowing down. I think it's basically just there's film on CJ Stroud now, right? I think there's more teams that they can be better prepared for him. And I think a big thing from what I saw, what killed that game for Houston is just penalties. Momentum killed Houston in that game. Larry Tunsil had a horrendous game.
Oh,
5
dude, he was
penalties
so bad.
for the highest paid tackle in the league.
And 3 of them were on the same drive.
Starts. Yeah, 3 false starts or two false starts in a illegal formation. Like that's a momentum killer, right? So I don't think Diggs is the root cause. So I just think that. Go ahead.
I was just going to comment. Like I also want to just again make the point that I don't want to take anything away from Minnesota in this. I've beat the drum repeatedly about this Vikings roster, about Kevin O'Connell, about this team. They're headed in the right direction. And the biggest question mark was Sam Darnold. And so far, he's been one of the league's best. And so hats off to him, kind of finding
leading the league in touchdown passes.
Exactly. And so and on the Stephon Diggs thing, I totally get like the drama queen mentality, and I get like how that can be detrimental. At the same time, when he was with Buffalo, that offense was humming as well. Like
absolutely,
like their offense didn't come down. It was just more of like a vibes thing. But at the same time,
his talent. But like,
I totally get like the. I think this is more of just like no one's sleeping on the Texans anymore. Like no one is
people are prepared.
100%. And so sense. I think that's good. That was pretty. I think 2 big surprises in 2 AFC North games. One, obviously, again, I'm going to call it. I told you Jaden Daniels could spin. The kid can spin. He could throw fucking footballs. He looks really, really good, obviously. So that was a surprise, right?
I watched that game from start to finish, and that kid looked unfucking believable.
Yeah, I mean, it's zero pressure for most of the game, but nonetheless put the balls where they needed to be. Secondly, I mean, not trying to throw strays here, the productivity of the Giants against Cleveland.
Yeah, no, it was frankly a pitiful watch. And when you also factor in the fact that they started with a fumble inside their own red zone to take the first play to score a touchdown, the Giants handed you the spread. Like they were like, here you go. Fine. And then even in the third and fourth quarter, after that onslaught from the Giants in the first half to come back from being down 7-0, the Giants basically were like, please take this game away. And the Browns were like, no, we refuse. Now, granted, we lost 3 offensive linemen in the game, and your Pro Bowl left guard has to slide over to left tackle for the first time since college. Like, that's never going to be good when you're
Right.
facing a good defensive front.
Yeah.
But it was still right in your lap, and you still shot yourself in the foot to get there.
Yeah.
And it was a pitiful performance. It's the reason, guys, when we were doing our over-unders at the beginning of the year, I was like, I don't trust this team. And one of that big parts was Callahan leaving. I didn't trust this offensive line. I certainly don't trust Deshaun Watson as a quarterback.
They have certainly struggled without him. You're absolutely right.
You know who's the only quarterback who qualifies that he's ahead of efficiency-wise? Bryce Young.
Wow.
Fuck.
This Deshaun Watson right now is leading the worst efficient offense in Browns history since their return.
Aaron, would you trade? Let me ask you this: GM had on Deshaun for Bryce straight up. Would you do it?
No, because there's too much cap shit for trading again.
Let's say Carolina agrees to take on the financial responsibility of Deshaun, and you get the financial responsibility of Bryce. Are you doing that straight up?
Yeah, but that
would never happen. But
I would say you're just giving me a get out of jail free card. So yes, I will take that.
I mean, Carolina might do that. I mean, they've made pretty questionable choices in the past. So considering what they traded to get Bryce Young and what the Bears got, that was just an absolute steal and a half.
Guys, I'm completely over the figure it out. It's not rust anymore. This is a feature.
Yeah,
this is who this guy is. It's not. He can get back to where he was 4 years ago. I hope he can somehow reclaim what he had before he got injured last year. Would be like the ceiling at this point.
Yeah.
So at this point, I'm just saying, let's get Jameis in there, and you're gonna look at what the Broncos just did, and Browns are gonna eat this, and we're gonna have egg on our face doing it. But it's over, guys. It's done. And the offensive line's bad.
It's gonna be
your only thing is, quite frankly, I don't want to be morbid here, but the guy's making unlimited money, guaranteed. I don't really necessarily want I don't want to throw DTR out there. I don't want to let this guy take it.
Yeah,
and we'll figure it out next year. We finally have a first round pick again.
Yeah. No, that's fair. Just a couple takeaways that I had from last week. Matt Stafford, holy shit, dude. That guy can get it done with anybody at this point. I'm convinced, man. Dude, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He is unfucking believable. That comeback that he had versus the Niners was just outstanding. It was just pure, Renaissance Matt Stafford from his early years with the Lions, where he just fucking rallied the team. He had everybody on his back and just carried them, dude. That was a super fun watch. Second takeaway, man, the Chiefs get every single fucking call, and it is annoying to watch. The Falcons should have won that football game, 1,000%. And it was very frustrating to watch. And I have no skin in that game at all. And
I did. I was the only one that took the fucking Falcons.
I took the Falcons with you.
Oh, you did. You're right. I'm sorry.
I mean, I had some skin in that game, as far as picks go, but as far as fandom and everything else, it's just, I don't know, man. There was a lot of questionable calls that happened in that game, and every single one went the Chiefs' way, and it was really, really bad. And then lastly, Bo Nix looked awesome against the Buccaneers.
He did.
He did.
Wow.
He did. So Corey and I talked about it when we talked about Bo Nix. He did exactly what he needs to do to survive.
Yeah.
No more than 12 yards, spread the ball around, kill the clock. Right?
Yep.
He did exactly that. If he can do that 12 games, he's going to win 7 of them. And that's all you can really ask for him. That's kind of it. If he could kill clock, he's in a good spot. He's not going to have these super flashy pit plays or bombs downfield. Their offense isn't necessarily suited for that based on who they have in the wide receiver room. But he's just going to take care of business. And I think that I would say my biggest surprise is how quickly we've seen rookie quarterbacks have good games this year. I thought it was going to be kind of a slow burn based on the first couple of weeks. And outside of, Caleb Williams, which we kind of expected him to turn the ball over, he's organically turned the ball over his whole career because he's, that's the way he plays. He plays very similarly to Jameis Winston, where he could throw 30 touchdowns, but he could throw 27 interceptions with it, right? Like that's his play. But I guess I shouldn't be super surprised because these dudes played 6 years of college football, but the acclimation to the NFL seems pretty fast. And I think that there's something to be said about that. And, we obviously all watched the Monday night game, and, I give respect to Cliff Kingsbury. He never broke stride in the play calling. They really
never
didn't
wavered.
run anything.
Like he trusted Jaden Daniels. Like when Jaden Daniels wanted to go for it on 4th down, like he said, "Hey, what you want to go? Let's fucking ride." And he gave like
it was cool.
He mirrored the confidence that Jaden Daniels had to fucking go get it. And like I know I know it's hard to say it's not cool because you guys obviously were on the receiving end of it, but like just watching it, like seeing a young dude go out there with a team that hasn't been successful, like say, hey, let's fucking just do this. Like we've got him on the ropes. Like all we got to do is just go for this and we're going to be in a good spot. Like it's cool to see these young coaches have confidence in these young quarterbacks and really make some plays. Like that dime that Jaden Daniels threw to Terry McLaurin when he took a shot.
Mm-hmm.
He took a shot and a half.
First time I heard Geno Stone's name all year.
Yeah. Geno laid him the fuck out, and he dropped a dime. Like it was a beautiful ball.
Yeah.
It just, I mean, obviously it's not fun to start 0-3 and have it come at the hand of the Commanders, but
you don't know anything about that, Bobby. So
no,
don't want to hear it.
That's what I'm just saying. I know it's not fun to be in that position. Like, yeah, I get it.
You don't, and I'm saying you don't know. That's what I'm saying.
So for the 4 of us here, just the record in the chat, Facebook user is Tez. I don't know why his name's not popping up, but that is Tez. So,
yeah.
For us reading the chat, yeah, it was a big win for you guys last week against.
Say something only Tez would say.
The Niners are beat up, but the Niners are absolutely beat up right now, and we'll obviously get into that here in a little bit.
Oh yeah, R.I.P. to my life. Juwan Jennings was on my bench. It was sick.
Jesus,
it's rough.
So in my work league, I had an absolute field day on waivers because nobody picked anybody. I was the only person that put claims in apparently, and I picked up Terry McLaurin, Juwan Jennings, Khalil Shakir. Like I got every single dude that popped off last week. I got him. So let's go over stats from last week as far as the pick'em goes, and then we'll dive into week 4. So we've got a 3-way tie for the best record, and it's all in the chat. It's none of us. So we have Josh, Pops, and Mr. Ryan Jester at 29-19, best record so far. Josh and Ryan went 9-7 last week. Pops went 8-8. The second best record, there's a 3-way tie for that. 2 in chat, 1 on the panel. We have Ariel and Tez at 27-21. Ariel went 7-9. Tez went 8-8. Todd went 8-8. And then I am by myself at 26-22 with a 7-9 record last week. And then Aaron and Corey are tied at 25-23 with a 7-9 record last week.
So we're 2 off Todd or 3 off Todd?
2.
So yeah. So
a lot of season left.
You guys are 2 teams back. The best
where we want them.
Last week was 9-7. Both of those coming from chat. That was Josh and Ryan. Everybody else was 500 or less. So in the last 2 weeks, so week 2 and week 3, there have only been 2 people above 500, and that happened in week 3 with Josh and Ryan at 9-7. Everybody else was 500 or less on picks. If that goes to show you that the craziness that has ensued in the NFL this year, like we're not usually this bad. Like sub 500 picks, or we didn't have that at all last season. Like it was rare, and we've had it in the twice in the first 2 weeks where the majority was under 500 for the first 2 weeks. So pretty nuts.
So, it's knucking futz.
It is knucking futz. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's dive in. We've got tomorrow night's game. we've got the Dallas Cowboys on the road in New York facing the Giants. The Dallas Cowboys have, man, they look great in the last 8 minutes of the game against the Ravens. And that was it. That other than that, they struggled hard. But in the last 8 minutes, Dak Prescott threw for like 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, and I didn't start him in my fantasy league because up until 8 minutes left in that game, I was right. And then he decided that he was just going to pop off. So, yeah, we got the Cowboys on the road versus the Giants. Corey, who you got?
Yeah, I'm not going to overcomplicate this one. Obviously, want to give credit where credit's due for the Giants last week, but I'm taking the Cowboys on the road. They're laying 6. I'd take that with the ability to push there at an even 6. So go ahead and give me Dallas.
Gotcha. Aaron.
Yeah, I'm with Corey here. I'm gonna take the Cowboys. I think they're the better team. These are the 2 teams that have beat the Browns now. And what's funny is 2 weeks ago, I had to fly out to Denver, and both of these were Monday. So flew out to Denver 2 weeks ago, flew out to Austin this week, and going through security, I saw so many Cowboys fans 2 weeks ago, and I saw so many Giants fans this week leaving, and I was like, I fucking hate these guys. But give me the Cowboys. Also, can you guys can hear me, right?
Yeah. We got you.
We got you.
It's not that funny.
No, it's
I'm just kidding.
The hotel Wi-Fi kept giving out, so now I'm just running a hotspot, but you're all frozen, but I can hear you.
Oh no, you're good. We can hear you.
Okay. Why is your shirt off?
Well,
I'm it's out and everything.
That's why it's called a hotspot, buddy.
Yeah.
Dad joke.
Yeah. So I did want to give a big shout out to Josh. He is tearing it up in these picks. He said Jaden Daniels probably played the best game of his young career, and I would agree with that. It's going to be hard for him to top that performance this year. But yeah, you're crushing it, bro. So keep killing it. Todd, who you got?
Yeah, so I saw CeeDee Lamb take a little bit of accountability for kind of not showing up for really the majority of that game. I thought that was an interesting take for him to say that his demeanor on the sidelines contributed to his play on the field, so he was going to improve upon it. Seems funny to say for a guy that just got paid a shit ton of money. But I'm taking the Cowboys too. There's no reason to pick the Giants right now.
No, I completely agree.
I'm telling you, though, guys, Neighbors is
Malik Neighbors is the fucking truth.
He is fucking legit.
He's making Daniel Jones look a lot better than Daniel Jones actually is.
Wait until the Giants draft Cam Ward and he has somebody that can throw him the football.
MJ Emerson, who has been a standout young corner for us, looked like a fucking high school kid trying to defend this guy.
I mean, it's like watching that game, like there was like 3 or 4 catches that Malik Neighbors made where the ball wasn't even close, and he figured it out. And
we eventually finally were like, all right, just Denzel Ward exclusively on Neighbors, but he is fucking.
By then, it was too late.
He's gonna be a top 5 receiver in the next 2 years.
Yeah, Malik Neighbors is the truth. I've got the Cowboys, and we don't need to
get him somebody to throw him the ball though.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's how you know he's good.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who's throwing to. I honestly feel like if one of the 4 of us was out there and we were just throwing shit up there, he'd find a way to catch it.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So Corey was not so convinced. Aaron was like,
"You're telling me
100%."
So we're talking no pressure there, right? Because if I see Miles from my side, your boy's gonna need a new pair of slacks. I ain't gonna make it through a game.
Pepper needs new shorts. Neighbors has great acceleration. Josh, you're absolutely right. Yeah, Malik Neighbors is fast. He runs good routes. He's got great hands. So he's everything you want in a young receiver. And hopefully the Giants can figure out a way not to fuck it up like they fucked it up with Saquon. So, all right, well, let's move on. We got the Cincinnati Bengals taking on the Red Rifle and the Carolina Panthers in Carolina. Man, Andy Dalton, what a fucking game that he had last week, boys. The first quarterback to throw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns in a game. and it just happened to be last week. So this is going to be could it be a revenge game for Andy Dalton and those wily Carolina Panthers? Who knows? Todd, lead us off. What you got? Mr. Roberts.
Taking the Bengals. I'm going to take the Bengals. I'm taking them here. If I'm going to have any, I don't know, guidance, advice, insight, whatever you want to call it, maybe just make adjustments. Change the scheme. Rush more than 4. Those are. I don't offensively. I have nothing bad to say, right? I mean, we ran the ball I think we ran the ball exceptionally well. 130 yards on the ground, give or take 10 yards. 300 plus in the air. Jamar had a good game. Andre had a good game. T played well. Eric All played very well. I know Aaron brought up the tight end play, which is true across the board. But Eric All, for being a rookie, I thought had great poise at being able to catch the ball with, 2 people on his back. So I have no qualms offensively with what happened on Monday. I just need to see adjustments made. And it hurts me to say this, and I've been thinking about it all day. I think there has to be a plan to keep Sam Hubbard on the field just a little bit less. Second worst in the NFL in pass rush this year. Just in general, just getting in the backfield, doing anything, tackling any of it.
Literally anyone not named Trey Hendrickson, they have a horrendous pass rush success. It's absolutely miserable.
It's atrocious. Yeah,
it's miserable.
Can I just say that I love Trey Hendrickson because he made me $100. Thank you, Trey Hendrickson, for saving me on the second to last drive of the game. Thank you.
So I think that it's, if you watch football, right, which all of us do, the majority of the people that pop in here do, watching defensive linemen.
I've been known to do that.
Watching defensive linemen get moved back 3 yards every single play is fucking painful when it's your team. It's painful. And really Washington ran very little to no, like outside. It was primarily zone reading, right, when they ran the ball. Outside of some counters when they ran the 2-back split. It's just hard. It's hard to watch defensive linemen get tossed around. I don't know. I was upset Monday. I threw a temper tantrum. I got reprimanded for it, but I threw a little temper tantrum on Monday.
Yeah. No,
I said some things I'm not proud
of. First and foremost, I did see is my mic better since I adjusted it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Much better.
Cool. Corey, who you got?
I think it's time for a little truth. Okay.
Well, I'm drinking the old popular kombucha here. It's
I just want you to know I can't see what you just did, but I know what you just did.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's time for a little truth. Brought to you by Ryan Geist Brewery, Cincinnati, Ohio. So I think what you're gonna see. Let's address some truths here. The Bengals were without their starting 2 interior defensive linemen in B.J. Hill and Sheldon Rankins, both household names. One more so known for stopping the run, one more so known for generating a pass rush. Both B.J. Hill and Sheldon Rankins, respectively. So they were without them. That's not an excuse. What that is a condemnation on the front office of the Cincinnati Bengals for not addressing depth at the interior defensive line position during the draft, during free agency, during whatever you need to do in order to ensure that you are sound up front. It is a condemnation on the Cincinnati Bengals front office for foregoing sure talent on the defensive side of the football year after year, whether it's Jesse Bates, whether it's DJ Reader. We could continue to go on and on here. Overall, I was happy with the way Dax Hill played. I know he got burnt once, but overall, Dax Hill has played really good football at the corner position.
Yes.
In CCB. So
What's that?
Cam Taylor-Britt.
Cam Taylor-Britt is the best corner in football statistically right now. So I'm not signing up for that. I know he runs his mouth and he gets toasted. I know that
he did not have a good game last week.
He got burned one time, but
one time for a touchdown.
Yes, call.
Trey Diggs does it too.
Don't run your mouth. Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. So
that's just karma. It's just
100%.
the law of the universe.
100%. I'm much more sign up for the silent assassin type personally. Which brings me to my next point. I think in Joe Burrow's post-game press conference, he made a comment that I think is kind of telling. And he said, I'm going to have to do some critical thinking about what kind of leader I have to be for this football team. And
I did see that. I loved it.
I think what we're going to see out of Joe Burrow is a much more animated, maybe angry, fiery version of Joe Burrow rather than some kind of docile, sit on the bench. Okay, it's my turn. Let's go. I'll play football type of deal. Bobby, looks like you got something.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, just to speak on that point, like, do you think he not only gets involved with the offense, but like if the defense fucks up or makes a mistake, like, do you think he's going to be in their face, like talking, like, what do you think that leadership's going to look like based off of what he said?
Zach Taylor certainly isn't going to fucking do it.
Right.
So it's
somebody's got to do it.
It's got to be somebody to say, what the fuck are you doing? Accountability. I'm in a leadership role at my job. I think all of us actually on this podcast are in leadership roles at our job.
Yep.
What is the one thing that is more impactful? I'm in a director position. It cannot come from the top down always. At times it needs to, right? When it's systems, when it's process, when it's things like that, it needs to come from the top down. But when it comes to motivation, energy, accountability, the way that you conduct yourself in the place of work, that is organic and it comes from within the team. And if you don't have team members that are checking somebody else and saying, what the fuck are you doing? When you don't have that, that's a problem. And I'm not saying that that's currently what's going on in Cincinnati at all, but I do know that at least from my experience in the sales world, if my top performer is checking motherfuckers, it's almost even more impactful than when I do it.
Right? Oh, for sure.
It means more to the guy when a guy that's in the boat rowing with you.
That just got my nipples hard.
Right?
Yeah, dude, me too.
Yeah, I'm a red.
that lateral motivation.
So
you're absolutely right, dude. Like when you're the leader of the ship, like, you know, I run a store, like we do all kinds of promotions and stuff, and it's stuff that, like, you have to, like, if your store is at the top, like, everybody's winning, and like it can't always come from me because I have to beat that drum.
Yep.
Like, it's absolutely right. But like, if I can find a way to get, you know, my tenured associates motivated to get other people in line, like, you're absolutely right. Like that makes my job easier. Number one, like, I don't have to beat that drum. Other people are going to do it for me, and then everybody's going to be motivated to hit that goal, which obviously in the NFL is fucking, like, winning football games and making the playoffs, and, you know, obviously winning championships and things like that nature. So you're absolutely right. Yeah.
So
like, you got me all jacked up. I'm excited.
That's awesome. The other cool little, like, if you're a Bengals fan just looking for anything right now, which I think a lot of us are, there are some cool comments that were made, or some just things to think about, and then I'll get to my pick. After the game, Ted Karras, center for the Cincinnati Bengals, he was asked, Ted, have you ever been 0-3 before in your career? He said, yeah, I was once in high school. They said, what happened? He said, we won the state championship that year. So that's just something cool to hear. It's very difficult. Another thing, I think it was Kay Adams that talked about it, the unofficial mascot of the Cincinnati Bengals. She said, would there be anything more Joe Burrow? Would there be anything more Cincinnati Bengals, at least as of late, to rise out of this, from the ashes, from this in some way? I have no X's and O's way to tell you how it's going to happen yet without BJ Hill or Sheldon Rankin. So don't ask me that. I don't know. Would there be anything more Bengals or Joe Burrow to be, when you're most fucking downtrodden, to come out of this even more motivated.
A phoenix rising from the ashes.
Exactly. I think we're in for another shootout on Sunday. I absolutely do. But I look for this Bengals team to turn into a running football team that will just scalp you with the pass rather than a passing team that supplements it with the run. And the reason for doing so is to keep the ball out of the other team's hand as long as possible. Right.
Yeah.
So look, Zach Moss, Chase Brown, they're going to be sharing 50% of the carries, I would imagine. So I would start them if you got them. It's really hard to go 0-4. So give me the Bengals.
Start them if you got them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Aaron.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of things I'd want to touch on is just I can't believe we're spending this much time on this game in the sense of it should just
it should have been a quick pick.
Put it down. My pick is the Bengals for every reason that Todd and Corey just said. And frankly, obviously, I know we're going to spend more time on the Bengals because we have two Bengals fans on this podcast. But what we're doing is we're talking about last week, and there's 2 points I want to touch on, and one is just a quick stat I think is insane. The Bengals, every time they touch the ball on Monday, put points on the board, and the last time that they got the ball outside of that time is when they didn't even have a chance to answer. So it's not a failing of the offense.
They did miss a field goal.
Okay, so all right. I think the stat was
McPherson missed. It was in the beginning.
They always put themselves in a position to put point. Right. Okay. So I might have missed that, but point being,
it was the first drive. I think.
How rare is it to put points on the board like basically every time you touch the ball?
Yeah.
And not even have a chance to answer at the end of the game.
It was the first time since 1940, the first time in 84 years, like rose from the Titanic.
No punts or turnovers.
No punts or turnovers in an entire game. It was all scoring.
So the Bengals, it's not the Bengals offense to me, obviously. Like the defense is obviously what is failing in Cincinnati, and what Corey just said on what would be more Bengals than to rise out of the ashes here. I kind of want to make a little parallel between the AFC North of Bobby. I'm sorry to catch some strays here, but in the same way that I don't think the Bengals are done at 0-3, I don't necessarily believe in the Steelers at 3-0. It just seems like business as usual somehow in both cases, where it's like, all right, the Steelers are crushed in the regular season. Like, why do we ever think this isn't going to happen? Why do we always think the Bengals are going to have a hot start? Like, it's just we're in week 3, and let's reassess this in week 11. And I'm curious our temperature then.
Sure. No, I completely understand that, and I do want to attend to a comment in chat. Came from Pops. He said, "Why do you think Joe had a meeting with Zach? Because there's no cohesive relationship in the organization." The reason that he had a meeting with Zach Taylor is because there is a gap in the leadership on this team. There's a clear gap in who's holding people accountable, as Corey had mentioned earlier. And that whole conversation between them, like how I pictured that going, was Joe basically ripping Zach Taylor a new one, saying, "If you're not going to fucking do it, I am."
What if it's just the coach meeting with the captain?
I think this is more about how are we handling this in the locker room. I think that's what this is.
I think this is just coach meeting with captain saying, what do we do moving forward? I think a lot of people have put major emphasis on it because it's a 10-second clip. I don't think that's necessarily uncommon.
And he also met with Lou Anarumo for whatever that's worth. Lou Anarumo was involved in that meeting as well. And I think
if anybody's to blame for that L last week, it was Lou for his lack of adjustments.
I think that's a fair assessment for sure.
They couldn't figure out. But also it is fair to say that like there's not a lot of tape on Jaden Daniels. Like it's hard to make adjustments on somebody you have not seen and there's not a lot of data on.
They could win the NFC East this year, guys. Like
they could. Like their offense is absolutely.
Let's see where we're at in 5 weeks. Let's see where we're at in 6 weeks. Let's see how things are shaking out.
But Aaron, to your point, like I completely agree with you, dude. Like I am not comfortable right now as a Steelers fan, knowing the back half of Pittsburgh's schedule. Like I'm not like comfortable or complicit in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Like
week 3, I'm just saying Pittsburgh still needs to prove more to me, and I don't think the Bengals are dead.
Like, don't get me wrong. Go ahead, Corey.
I don't do this a lot, so I'm going to do it now. Let's just say something positive about the Steelers. They're doing exactly what they have to do. Right? They're beating teams without good quarterbacks, and then when a good quarterback misses almost half of the game, they take advantage of it and they win that game. Right? You've seen it plenty of times where a backup comes in, rallies, and then that team ends up winning. Pittsburgh did exactly what they had to do and shut down the Chargers to win that game. We'll get to Pittsburgh. We'll get to the Chargers later. I just wanted to make that comment. They're doing exactly what they have to do.
Yeah,
because
Pittsburgh is just the S&P 500. It's like there's momentary collapses, but like, goddamn, it's like
it's consistent.
It defies logic.
It is consistent. But yeah, I mean, it definitely, those high ankle sprains are tough to come back from, and then let alone you re-aggravate it in the middle of a game. Like it's just that's a tough thing to do. And to Aaron's point last week, where you're fucking playing with plantar fasciitis and both feet, like Myles Garrett, like it's just one of those things where it's just unhuman to do. But we've kind of digressed at this point. Let's not spend too much more time on this. Let's kind of dive into one of the more exciting 1:00 matchups that we're going to have next week, and that's going to be the New Orleans Saints on the road in Atlanta, taking on the Falcons. Both of these teams have shown a lot of promise going into week 4. The Saints have had some big wins. Obviously, they played a tough game against the Eagles last week. Falcons took a tough L against the Chiefs. Obviously, there were a lot of questionable calls in that game. Came down to a play in the end zone that not only cost me my parlay, but cost the Falcons a win because I needed Kirk Cousins to throw one more touchdown. I had him for 2, and I would have cashed like $120. But it is what it is. This is going to be a good football game here, guys. This is going to be a good football game. Saints on the road, the Falcons. Aaron, I don't think I've tossed it to you yet first. So I'm going to throw it to you. Who you got?
This is like such a great game of let's throw the measure sticks out and just see who these teams are. Like I have no idea between the two of them. I'm very excited to learn a lot about each of these teams. The Saints have defied what I thought they would do to start the season. But Corey, we talked about it last week where I was like, I'm going to take the Eagles because I'd rather be wrong about the Saints one more week. And it paid off, right? Like
they should not have won that football game, by the way. Saints should have won.
And they probably should. And the Eagles probably shouldn't have lost the week before that. Like it
should not have.
Baby.
Yep. You're right. You're absolutely right.
See what those records look like at the end of the year. And this is going to be a divisional game, and I think this is going to be Here's my bold prediction for this game: scoregami.
Ooh,
okay.
We're going to see a score. It's going to be a weird, like, there's going to be a niner in there. And like, I don't know. It'll be
15 to 29 or something.
Yeah, like exactly. Like I've never seen this fucking score before. I'm really excited about this one. I'll take the Falcons.
Taking the home team.
I think the Saints surprised me early. They showed me a little bit more of what I thought they were going to be at the beginning of the year this last week. And I think the reverse can be said about the Falcons, where I thought they were going to come out hot. And they've showed me a little bit more in the last, even in the loss against the Chiefs, I think they showed me a little bit of resolve. And I think Kirk Cousins is starting to get back into his groove. Let's not forget that, he went through a traumatic injury last year. That's not just the easiest thing to come back from. You got to take some hits, take your lumps. I think the Falcons are the better team. And I think I'm really excited about this game.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one.
For the record, 29-15 would not be a scoregami. I'll just put that out there.
I'm just saying, bold prediction.
What would be?
I mean, there's a lot.
I don't know.
There's a lot.
There's a lot. It's
like 4-0 would be a scoregami.
2-11.
No, 2-11 has happened.
Okay, but something like that. It's going to be a weird fucking score.
Nuts. 2-11.
It's not going to be 24-21.
The lowest scoregami available actually is 4-0, but the lowest.
6-2 or 6-2 has had to have happened.
There's never been a 2-2 tie.
God, that would be nuts. 2 safeties and no touchdowns. That would be nuts.
You just have to assume there's like the world's worst blizzard or like that. Otherwise, I don't see it happening.
In a dome in Atlanta.
All right, Corey, you got?
Yeah, I think the Falcons are top 4 team in the NFC right now. Give me the Falcons. I think they proved themselves against Kansas City, hung right with them, which is why I think you got to take everything with a grain of salt early off in the season and just try and look at the way they match up against teams that you do feel good about. Like I think we all feel good that the Chiefs are a good football team. We'll talk about Travis Kelce a little bit later, but I think Atlanta's a good football team, and I think we're seeing that. I think they're figuring out how to move. We're seeing Kyle Pitts get involved, which is exciting. This is a lot of fun. He turns out he can play football. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Give me Atlanta mostly because they're at home and mostly because I feel better about their loss than I do about the Saints.
Sure. Yeah, the Saints really struggled last week. It was Alvin Kamara obviously coming off that ginormous game the week prior, and then the Saints offense was completely shut down.
Let me ask you this, Bobby. Who do you have more faith in, Kirk Cousins or Derek Carr?
Oh, Kirk Cousins, 100%.
Right.
Yeah. So my pick this week is the Falcons. I would not be surprised if the Saints pull this game out. I think they've got the talent and the ability to do it. In a game like this, where for me it's a coin flip. As far as talent and everything else goes, I agree with you. The Falcons played the better team last week. They had more challenges to overcome, and I think the Falcons take this one at home. So I'm gonna ride the wave and take the Falcons.
Todd, you gonna try and extend that lead, baby? What are you gonna do?
No, this isn't my lead extender here, fellas. I think that it's nice to see the ball be moved around appropriately in Atlanta. That's the first time we've seen that in a few years. I mean, Darnell Mooney's their leading receiver right now. That's just a weird stat, right?
Makes me sad as a Drake London.
And he looks good down there, man. Yep. He's looking good.
Yeah, so I think my big thing from watching the Falcons offense last week is we watched it looked very what's the word I'm looking for? Fluid, right? And you're talking about new head coach, new offensive coordinator, new quarterback, right? Like all these things that are new and are changing. It looked very fluid. And just to Corey's point, I'm taking the Falcons at home in the division because this is the likely matchup that they win in the NFC South. So taking the Falcons here.
Yeah, fair enough. So through the first 3 games, everybody is on the same page. Simpatico.
Is this going to be the one? Maybe it's just a normal week.
Yeah.
Aaron.
And you know what? This next game is not gonna. It should not change the status quo here. We've got the Jacksonville Jaguars taking things on the road to Houston. Corey looks like he's got something to say.
I just don't know why Jacksonville is this bad, and I don't trust.
I don't either. It makes no sense.
Dude, Trevor Lawrence has just looked lost.
Booty.
Lost,
so,
dude.
Yeah,
it's a shame.
Let's dive into it. I mean, Trevor Lawrence is basically Daniel Jones, but with better hair. So, let's what's the surprise
really
here?
I also, before we move on to this, I just like the.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I like the meme of Trevor Lawrence is the first guy to throw an interception to someone that's died. I think that's pretty funny.
Oh my god! Yes, I saw that.
I think that's pretty funny.
Sick puppy, Todd.
That's pretty funny.
You guys, have you watched The Sopranos?
Mm-hmm.
So Carmela, right? And then the dude that came over from Italy that stayed in New Jersey.
Yeah,
they say that Trevor Lawrence looks like the love child of Carmela and that guy.
Oh shit!
Yeah, dude, it's really good. Just look it up. There's a meme. You can find it. But the surprising thing is that why is he dating? Trevor Lawrence was the highest recruited quarterback prospect since Peyton Manning coming out of high school. Like this guy was, everybody loved him. Everybody loved him.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, it's
Furio.
So
what?
here's my counterpoint.
Furio. Furio.
Furio.
I agree with you guys that what Trevor Lawrence is doing in Jacksonville right now it's not good football. But what's Darnold doing right now in Minnesota? What's Baker doing right now in Tampa?
Yeah.
I think we're so quick to say that these guys are terrible, and there's a reason that Trevor Lawrence was this first pick, highly recruited talent,
Like in the video, sir,
and like probably was accounted as the best quarterback prospect we've seen since Luck. And I'm just not willing to throw out an entire career over how it's going right now. I think he might just need a change of scenery, and I think he can still have even like Derek Carr, what he's doing with the Saints right now. Like, I think the new normal in the NFL needs to be these guys are not what they are in their first 4 years necessarily. And like even like a Will Levis right now, I think we're doing it. Like, I don't know that guy's not going to have an NFL career. It just might take a little bit to get it off the ground.
Yeah.
Sure.
Fair enough.
You could say that Trevor Lawrence has played really bad so far, though, right? Like,
but that's what I'm saying. But all those other guys were doing that too.
Sure.
And I just think we throw people to the side so early.
It's
when
right, and it's easy.
Depletion of quarterback talent.
Right. It's easy too when someone gets, when they get an extension like that and then they come out and play bad. It's easy for everyone to go, oh, here's another overpaid quarterback, right? Like that's where the direction goes. I just think that
we just don't have patience in the NFL, and part of that is careers are lost through patience.
Sure.
Well, so are franchises. I think like you can't
exactly. No. I get why I get why it is that way.
Yeah.
But I feel like this year is a referendum on that in the quarterback position. You're seeing guys like whack-a-mole pop out that we thought were dead. They're zombies.
Yeah.
Well, this is also the same organization that Vegas is telling you is going to have their head coach fired first too right now. Right. Like
he did. He got fired at halftime, didn't he?
Doug Peterson?
No.
Did I not? Or was that just fake news?
That's fake.
I think not get fired. I think I listened to. I think it was on the Bill Simmons.
Did you get ball sacked?
He was.
We've all been there.
Sorry, I think I might be a little lag, but he was just speculating that Belichick will be the coach of the Jaguars because Khan is actually one of those owners that will step aside, and he actually has done that and just said, just figure it out. Here's all the money in the world. And I almost kind of think the Jaguars may be a good situation for that.
That's interesting.
He's gonna be a coach again. I'm sure of that.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm on Aaron's side on that too. I believe
that's interesting. Anyway, I'm taking the Texans.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Ariel, thanks for being late. Obviously, we've got the hurricane coming in, so appreciate
thanks
you
for being late.
No, like seriously, like thanks
for being here.
Thanks for taking care of yourself first. Like obviously.
Okay.
Okay. It's kind, but also sounded very condescending. I like.
No,
it.
that was not what I meant in any way, shape, or form. I just know that
I can't.
I
can't wait. It just
sounded like one of those things where you like accidentally misspoke, where you're like just the Pope shit in the woods.
Yeah. I can't wait to use it on somebody and
no
have a
backstory. Ariel's he's been here every week. I went in our DMs because he obviously asked us when we were going to be live, and I said, "Hey, we're live right now." And then he was like, and then he popped in and said, "Hey, sorry, we got a hurricane to deal with." And I was like, "Holy shit, that's right, you do have a hurricane to deal with. It's coming in soon."
Yeah, pretty important.
Yeah. So everybody else, what's your fucking excuse?
Right.
Yeah.
He's still here. No, thanks for being here, big dog. Thanks for the picks. But yeah, most importantly, anybody that's dealing with that, please be safe. Obviously, we got I think it's category 3 at this point.
3.
Coming into the panhandle of Florida. And so Yeah, it's gonna be pretty nuts. Hopefully, everybody can stay
Category
safe.
3 in Florida is just a staycation, though. They know what they're doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a
Pros.
yeah.
Pros. This is pros over there.
Yeah, I've also got the Texans though. Anybody taking the Jaguars over the Texans this week is just they're from the future at this point. So
Silly goose.
yeah, silly goose. Well, let's go ahead and take things to a rookie quarterback versus the oldest quarterback in the league. We've got Bo Nix headed to New York to take on Aaron Rodgers and the Jets.
I know it was Aaron Rodgers, but the fact that you started with Bo Nix is hilarious to me because he's so old.
Yeah, so
25-year-old rookie Bo Nix.
He's a rookie.
Isn't he older than Burrow?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
No, Burrow was a super senior too, so he was.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
There was somebody that they were like, it doesn't matter.
Either way, we got the Broncos on the road versus the Jets. Obviously, the Broncos coming off a straight beat down to the Buccaneers. Jets coming off a solid win last week. Todd, who you got in this one?
Yeah, it was pretty cool to watch Aaron Rodgers look normal, right? Like everybody was just like, "Oh my God, he's so great!" And I in my mindset, I'm like, we've been watching him do this for over a decade. What are we so shocked about? What he's capable of. It's just cool to see him continue to sling it. Jets are playing good football both sides of the ball, though, fellas. I think that's the main thing. The AFC East between them and Buffalo is going to be pretty interesting. That first matchup will be pretty interesting. I'm taking the Jets here. They're Bo Nix or not. This is you're in enemy territory right now. The Jets fans are hot. They're playing really well. It's going to be a tough environment. And I think we'll continue to see Aaron Rodgers just play it exactly as he did before. He didn't, it was kind of like a blip on the radar with the Achilles injury, but he's back to status quo. Comeback player of the year, barring no more injuries.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, no. Tez, from what I've seen in the chat, Josh has not changed his pick to the Jets or to the Broncos, excuse me. So that's a good joke there, fella. Corey, who you got?
Yeah, I don't think I think that I like the spread on this. Like I like the the Broncos plus. I think they're getting 7.5. Yeah. I really like that because I think they do have the ability to keep this a little bit closer. But I will be interested to see how Bo Nix and this Broncos offense handle this Jets defense and if they are able to be productive. So it'll be interesting. I would like to see a competitive football game because I do like Bo Nix. I like what he brings to the table. I think he's a very classic quarterback that I think that is he's just fun to watch. The kid can sling the football. At the same time, he's going against arguably, I will make this argument, the best passer to ever play football is Aaron Rodgers. I think the best quarterback, like the best thrower of the football is Aaron
I was going to make that point too, Court. Like just the way, like watching him last week, just that spiral, the effortless spiral flick of the wrist is. I don't necessarily love the guy, but man, it's pretty to watch.
Yeah, he's a little goofball, But
he's a good.
But it's just this rapid fire where he's just like.
I'll tell you one thing. I'm listening to his podcast
because
it's going to be wild when he retires. It's going to be fucking nuts.
Him and RFK, baby.
Yeah, dude.
The ayahuasca plug.
Yeah, dude.
RFK, pull that up.
Aaron Rodgers comes to you tomorrow. Is like, hey, I'm get on my private jet. Let's go to Peru and do ayahuasca. Are you saying yes?
Of course.
Is there popcorn on the plane?
Probably in champagne, more than likely. Probably anything you want at this point.
Yeah,
I mean, I'll try anything twice.
Right.
Right.
I think we're all saying yes. But give me the Jets.
Yeah, Aaron. I'm assuming you're taking the Jets here. Do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, I mean, I'll take the Jets here. I think the Broncos are a great defense too. Bo Nix really could have a chance to be the way he throws the ball. It kind of works with Sean Payton's offense and I know this was kind of his comp, even though they don't metrically look the same. he's kind of Drew Brees. Like his short accuracy is really good. His medium accuracy is pretty good. And I think he can develop a long ball at some point. But I don't think he's going to be he doesn't have a large ceiling ahead of him. So let's see how he develops throughout the season. And I think you'll see that. And the Broncos should be relatively happy with what they have in front of them.
Patient.
Yeah, let's be a little patient here. You're right.
One thing that front office has not been in the last 15 years.
Yeah, and you have an ownership change recently, and it's
no more Elway, baby.
Family, so sometimes that's tough. Like you just have that over change, and they're going to be eating that Wilson money for the next 2 years. But when you have Bo Nix, if he can, it's probably a good situation for the next 2 years. To be honest, let's give him some time.
Yeah,
sure.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'm taking the Jets here. Strictly defense. I think the Jets defense is playing pretty well. Bo Nix struggled in Seattle against them. Not necessarily as good of a defense, but a tough environment to play in. And I think going into New York, it's kind of the same thing. Tough environment. And I think the Jets pull this one out. So now moving forward to the second best 1:00 game outside of the Saints and the Falcons. We've got the Minnesota Vikings taking on the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be a fucking fun game to watch.
Yeah, it is. This is just like the other game. It's like, all right, let's see who they are. Right.
Right. Yeah. This is going to be great.
Are we getting Jordan Love?
I mean, regardless of who's at quarterback for the Packers, I still think this is a good football game.
Oh, I do too, but it's a very different discussion.
It most definitely is. I know that Jordan Love is not slated, like confirmed start
limited
now.
Today.
He's not a confirmed start, but he's on the road to recovery a lot quicker than what everybody anticipated. First and foremost, I do want to give a big shout out to Todd. Thank you for the hat. This is from his recent trip from Colorado. He got me
that is pretty
Colorado Rockies hat, pinstriped with the mountains and a baseball. So it's my new fave right now. So thanks, big dog.
Happy
Mine must be in the mail, Todd.
Well,
I'm just
big gulps, huh? All right, let's move on. You travel so much, Aaron. What's your address? I don't know.
I'm fucking.
I've asked you.
I'm still waiting on a Whopper from Bobby. So
yeah, same.
Hey, you just gotta let me know you want me to cash that in, and I will send it. Like there's no.
I'll probably
no
hospital. I'll probably do a hospital DoorDash when the baby comes.
Good call. Good time.
Just let me know, and I'll cash it in. Like there's never been a hesitation on my end. It's just let me know you want it, and it's there.
Hey, Bobby, why don't you DoorDash me a Whataburger to the Residence Inn? That'd be great.
Whataburger to room 327.
Everyone, go get them.
That was Bobby. That was oddly close.
That was my goal. I was trying to get somewhat close.
He shut down for a second. Like, how did he know?
Are you on the third floor of the Residence Inn?
He has to be. He has to be.
I can't confirm or deny.
That means yes.
That's so funny. All right.
So
let's get to this game.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Vikings on the road in Lambeau. What a fucking awesome game. This is a game on the calendar. We didn't think this was going to be very exciting. Considering Sam Darnold, coming into the Vikings, we didn't think he was going to be much based off of his previous, accolades in his career. The Packers, we thought they would, at the beginning of the season, you're looking at this matchup, you think they're going to roll. Jordan Love, very experienced at this point, way more than Sam Darnold. Like, this is going to be a fun game to watch. Justin Jefferson seems unstoppable at this point. I'm just absolutely excited. If you're in a pick'em league, this is not a game I would touch. I would just enjoy it. So, I'll start with this one, guys. I haven't started yet. So, and I don't know what I'm going to do. I absolutely have no idea what I'm going to do. Talk
it through, Bob.
Yeah, I'm just going to try to talk it through. I think from an offensive perspective, I think where this game lands. The Packers defense has shown up quite a bit. But I just don't know if there's anybody in the league that can guard Justin Jefferson. I mean, literally last week, like he got whatever he wanted. He was left open in the middle of that 2-high zone every single play. And Sam Darnold didn't miss. And he had 5 or 6 opportunities in the red zone, and 4 of them he connected for a touchdown. Like, Sam Darnold's in a great spot right now. And we're seeing the second coming of Sam Darnold, who, used to see ghosts and now he's seeing touchdowns. So
Nice.
I'm going to ride the Vikings on this one, guys. I have faded them every single week, and I'm just not going to do it anymore. I'm going to take the Vikings over the Packers at home. Just vibes, straight vibes. There's no other reason for this pick other than I believe in Sam Darnold. So, whoever wants to go.
That took a lot out of him. I don't know if you guys just saw that.
It did. I was stressing over that one.
He's exhausted.
All right,
I'll go. So,
okay, go ahead.
All right. So, I think something that we haven't talked about is 2 weeks in a row, Malik Willis has done exactly what he needed to do, which is throw passes, completions to wide receivers. Something we very rarely saw him do in Tennessee.
Ricky,
another quarterback left for dead.
I think it's, and Bobby and I talked about it when we were watching the game Sunday and we were watching him. It's just fascinating to see somebody change an offense, be given the appropriate confidence to go out and play football and execute, right? Like everything that everyone talked about Malik Willis going into the draft, we've kind of seen bits and pieces of it in real time now, right? Like you've seen the elusiveness with him running the ball. You've seen him be able to stretch. He's even stretched the field pretty decently with, LaFleur's playbook. The conversation Bobby and I had was, why rush Jordan Love back when you seem like your offense runs pretty fluid? And, oh, by the way, Josh Jacobs is running the football very, very well. The Packers have just, to me, have been like, I'm overly impressed with what they've done. When Jordan Love went down, I kind of immediately went to the thought of like, shit, this is going to be tough trying to come back in the second half, because my assumption was, torn MCL for the season until we heard the sprain. And like, all right, 4 or 5 weeks. I don't think you rush Jordan Love back. And with that being said, if you lose this matchup with Minnesota this week, I don't think it's a big deal, right? Like, because you're going to get him again, and you're going to get Jordan. You want Jordan Love back at 110%. You don't want him back at 80% trying to win a divisional game. I'm taking the Vikings here just because I think the Packers are going to be willing to let one slide. And then when this matchup means just a little bit more a few weeks down the road, Green Bay comes back and gets it back, right? Because right now the NFC North is 110% up for grabs. Again, it's early in the season. But, Brian Flores has done a great job with what he's been given in Minnesota. That defense has looked tough, dude. A ton of pressure on the quarterback. It's exactly what he's done anywhere he's been a defensive coordinator, head coach. He plays smash mouth football on that side of the ball. And teams have, as of right now, have really not had a response to the pressure that they've provided. Now, that being said, Dallas Turner is limited right now, and he's played pretty well to start the year. So I'm interested to see how they supplement that. But I am going to take the Vikings just because I'm 3-0 on Vikings picks this year, and I'm going to ride that train.
Sure. It says, as of right now, you're the only one taking the Packers, but that could change. Corey.
Or Aaron. I can go. I just wanted to build off of one of Todd's points where, we're talking about the state of the Packers and how Malik Willis has showed up and played really well in the absence of Jordan Love. And the parallel that comes to my mind is the tale of 2 seasons between the Dolphins and the Packers. When your quarterback goes down and you have to turn to the backup, what does that season look like? And for the Packers, it's looking good. For the Dolphins, it's looking miserable. And the interesting part to me is for the Packers, they have such a diversification of assets on offense where it's like each one of these receivers, although individually might not be a superstar, they all collectively do different things. And for the Dolphins, you have this offense that is built on speed. So when that straw that stirs the drink goes down, you can't really confuse the defense on trying to do something different. You're just doing it worse. And it's very interesting to me how the Packers have been able to kind of right the ship here where the Dolphins look like they're going to be left for dead. With that said, I'm going to take the Packers I really like what they're doing, and I with Minnesota coming into Green Bay, Lambeau's always a little bit different. It's early in the season; it's a divisional game. You're always. I want Minnesota to prove it to me one more week. I'm really happy with what they've done. I've faded them for sure this season, but just give me one more week. I'm going to take the Packers here.
Sure, Corey.
Yeah, I think to Aaron's point about the Packers juxtaposed to the Dolphins.
Great word.
That's an indictment on Mike McDaniel. I'm going to keep coming back to it. That's exactly what that is, in my opinion. Or it's a really good tip of the cap to Matt LaFleur, right? And I think both can be true as well, or both could be wrong, right? Who knows? At the end of the day, we'll see. Time will tell. But I think at the end, right, currently as things sit, people would say, I think Matt LaFleur is a better coach than Mike McDaniel. I think that has to be said. One thing we're not talking about here that I think is going to be a huge storyline is Aaron Jones returning to Lambeau. And Aaron Jones
interesting.
has played some good football in Minnesota. And I think Todd talked about it as well. Brian Flores in Minnesota, this defense is going to be the reason why I take Minnesota here. I think, again, they're the most complete team. And let me just throw this little nugget out here. I hope it's not true because that means the season went poorly. If Andy Dalton is the reason Zach Taylor gets fired and Minnesota continues on this trajectory, look for Brian Flores to be a top candidate in Cincinnati next year.
I just got chills.
Just putting that out into the universe. Anyway,
I am taking that though.
Yeah, you like that? I am taking Minnesota.
I hate it personally.
Yeah, it's not good for anybody else in the AFC North.
Let's bring Brian Flores into the NFC or the AFC North.
He's perfect.
That'll be good. That'll be good for CT.
So
he was in the AFC North for a hot second with Pittsburgh last year.
I'm not saying he's dirty, but I'm just like, we all are already bruised all the fuck. Like,
that was funny. No, I'm very high on Minnesota. I'm not gonna stop that until they give me a reason to. And this is not anything bad about Green Bay because I think all of the points made about Green Bay are true. In fact, I would almost say that this game is even more fun to me because of how impressive both of these teams have been over the last 3 games. So it's like 1A between this and Saints Falcons.
Saints Falcons. I was gonna say it's very similar type of matchup where I'm like I'm gonna learn a lot.
So Aaron, you get your one. You're the first one to stray of the panel here, and you got the Packers.
But
I'll take the Vikes.
Sure.
But even in like if I got to pick 10 times or the game happens 10 times, Vikings might win 6. It's an interesting one to just be on the opposite side of.
Yeah. No,
I can see it happening.
Provide some. I mean, the NFL has been full of parity this year, and this is a game that literally is a coin flip. I could if the Packers win, I will not be surprised.
Nope.
I don't think anybody here is going to be surprised if this game goes.
Oh no, they're home favorite. Home favorite. Sorry.
Yeah, but let's tailor this conversation back to the AFC North for a second. We got the Pittsburgh Steelers on the road, taking things to Indianapolis, taking on Anthony Richardson and the Colts. Steelers defense is incredible, guys.
Yeah,
they have. They're averaging 8.2 points allowed per game or something crazy. It's under 10 points a game. That they're averaging at this point allowed. Now, the caveat to that situation is the offense and, what they've been able to put up. And, obviously last week they were able to put up 20 plus, which is, the first time that I've seen some real strides with that offense. That being said, the Colts offense can do some things. They've got some young talent there with Anthony Richardson and a young receiving core. Obviously, they have Jonathan Taylor. It's gonna be an interesting game. I think this game comes down to the defense and how well they play on both sides of the ball. But obviously, not being a Steelers fan, I want to hear from you guys first. What do you guys think is going to be the biggest impact? Corey, who do you have in this game?
So, I think the thing that is really interesting in this game, and something that we haven't really talked about is, because I don't think it's happened yet, other than that first game against Atlanta where you saw the offense kind of struggle and them kind of get to the quarterback. The Colts are third in pass rush.
Yeah.
I think that plays a factor in this. I am taking the Steelers in this game. I am taking the under in this game.
Yeah.
I look for turnovers from both Anthony Richardson and Justin Fields in this football game. And then I look for explosive plays. So it's kind of a little bit of a weird, some nuance to this football game. But I think the way touchdowns are scored are through 20-plus yard plays. It's going to be interesting. This is going to be an interesting football game too, because a lot of people coming into this season had the Colts as a wild card football team, right? Texans winning the division, Colts getting in with a wild card. This is a prove it to me right now. You've got a home game with an undefeated team coming into your arena. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? They can beat this team. They can beat the Steelers, right? It's the NFL. I think that both of these rosters are pretty similar in skill level. I think Anthony Richardson, though, when given pressure, makes bad decisions sometimes, for sure. We all know he can sling it, but he just doesn't have the football IQ yet because he's so inexperienced. He's so raw. And so I think that that's going to present opportunities for that, Pittsburgh's defense that we've talked about here. And on the flip side, I think, Justin Fields, we saw what happened in Chicago when he gets pressure on him. Like, he has an opportunity to make mistakes as well. And so that's kind of, I think, the tale of the tape is going to be for this game. Ultimately, though, I think we've got a great head coaching battle as well. This is going to be a very chess-like game, punting from, your own 47-yard line type football game, I think, is what we're going to see out of this. And it's gonna be fun. But give me the Steelers. It's very difficult to go 4-0 in the NFL. So I kind of feel weird about taking this, and I feel like the Colts are due to get right. They feel like a 500 football team to me, and Pittsburgh doesn't feel like a 14-3 football team. But give me the Steelers. Regrettably, hedging happiness, and we'll see how it goes.
Sure, Todd.
Yeah, so I think, just to touch on the Anthony Richardson point and kind of Corey's point there too, is this is what, game 7 for him in the NFL, game 8, maybe somewhere in that
8.
ballpark.
Game 7.5. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and you look at career stats, you're looking at 6 touchdowns and 10 picks, which is exactly what you expect from a rookie quarterback, right? I'm not going to beat a dead horse. I think there's going to be a lot of mistakes made from both sides of the ball. I just think that Anthony Richardson is poised to make a couple more errors. And I mean, Bobby's already said it. Pittsburgh's defense has done exactly what they've needed to do when they needed to do it. And they're going to come in with the same preparation of, let's attack an inexperienced quarterback and force him into situations where he's not comfortable. And I think they get to do that a couple more times, and that results in 15-12 game, right? Like, I could very much foresee this being another game for the Steelers where there's no touchdowns. So I'm taking the Steelers as well here. I actually think this is going to be probably one of the 1 o'clock snoozers of the week.
Ooh, interesting.
Aaron.
I don't disagree with you. This has, I don't know that I call it a snoozer, but this feels like one of those just grimy 1 o'clock games. And if you're a fan of defense, that might be a good game to watch. But yeah, I think it's going to be, somebody's going to have to pull a rabbit out of the hat to win the game. And Bobby, you talked about earlier how, good the Steelers defense is. And I think take every team, split them in half, and let's take their offense and defense and rank them 1 to 64. I might put the Steelers defense number 1, like this early in the season. I think that's the best unit in football that we've seen so far from a consistent standpoint. With that being said, though, I'm going to also echo the points that Corey just made on, this is one of those games where I'm not really sure how I'm feeling. I don't necessarily believe that the Steelers are a 4-0 team. And Corey, I think rather than rehash all the points you just made, I think you're on the fence 60-40, and I'm going to take the 40-60 side of that coin. Maybe try to make up some ground here, be a little gamesmanship, but I think this is, again, one of those weird 15-8 games on early Sunday action, and Jonathan Taylor's getting hot. I think we saw out of him last week that he can break a 70-yarder if he can just bust to the outside, and I think that might be the kind of game where it's slow. Next thing you know, Jonathan Taylor's rushing 70 yards upfield, and it's a touchdown kind of game. So I'll take the Colts here just to try to, get a little edge on the group here.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, this is very easily a game that could go either way. Going into the season, there was no way that I thought we were going to be 3-0 going into week 4. Hedging happiness at this point, it was it's been a pleasant surprise to see the results that we've had. We've won some pretty close games. The defense has kept us in every single one, and I don't think the Colts offense has the ability to get over enough to take this game. I do agree that this may not be the most exciting football game to watch, but on the same edge where you're saying Jonathan Taylor has the ability to be a game breaker and he's getting hot. I would say the same thing for Justin Fields. Justin Fields,
yeah, for sure.
For every game that he's played, he's dropped some dimes that have been called back via penalty, and that's obviously been addressed at this point. But the dual threat that we have at running back, the defense that we have, I'm pretty confident that the Steelers can go into Indianapolis and take this one. It may not be an exciting game, but I do believe that the Steelers will come out on top, barring any major, crazy things happening. I'm going to take the Steelers in this game, just on the fact that I think defensively they are a better team, and also I think they are a better coach team, but not by a big margin. But I think at this point in the season, I think we can say that the Steelers are a better coach team at this point. So I'm gonna ride with Steelers. So Aaron, you were a true lone wolf on this one. You were the only one that took the Colts.
It's not a bad one to be a lone wolf on. It's
and again, I'm just as you guys aren't as confident in your Steelers pick. I'm obviously the reverse side of that with the Colts, right?
It's one of the games this week where taking a risk is not a huge deal. The Vikings Packers is a coin flip. The Steelers Colts could potentially be a coin flip. Just like the Saints Falcons, that could be a coin flip as well. Although we're all on the same side of that coin.
It does look to be a really good slate, though, which I'm excited about.
Yeah, for sure. Now, Tez, you got some skin in this one. We got the Rams taking things on the road versus a rookie quarterback in Chicago taking on the Bears at Soldier Field. So this could be an interesting game. Matt Stafford has just proved time and time again that he is just elite. I don't think anybody sitting here talking about football can argue at this point that Matt Stafford's not an elite quarterback. Considering what he overcame last week with injuries and just absolutely getting it done. So Rams, Bears. Aaron, I'll toss it back to you, dude. Who you got?
Yeah, it's interesting you just say that about Stafford, because he does seem to just always somehow be like somewhere between 10 and 12 without fail. Like he's the 10th to 12th best quarterback.
Just always gets it done, man.
He's solid. He's great. And then on the reverse side, you have the Bears, who they're figuring it out, right? And we saw a couple glimmers last week, and that offensive line is still really struggling. Luckily, Donald retired, but it's not like I didn't see anything out of the Rams last week that made me think they weren't competent on the defensive end. this one's a weird one. Like I think the Rams is the obvious pick. But I feel like they used a lot of energy last week to get that win out. I'm still going to take the Rams, but I think this is going to be a fairly competitive game. I'll take the maturity of Los Angeles over Chicago if this game is close, which I expect it to be. Give me the guys who have been there before.
Sure. Todd.
Yeah, better coach, better quarterback in LA, fellas. And I'm going to base it off of that. Caleb Williams is going to continue to make mistakes. I think if there's any coach in the league that's going to capitalize on errors and quarterback, this is the combo. This is probably you put these two heads together. This is probably the smartest quarterback coach combination in the league.
Oh, I don't think anybody would argue that.
Yeah. So I just, the Bears have some growing pains, and I'm also on the fence of even if Eberflus makes it through this season, fellas. I'm kind of feeling that vibe right now. And Shane Waldron as an offensive coordinator for Caleb Williams, they're just setting the kid up to fail. That's honestly what it feels like to me. Just setting a young quarterback up to fail, and their offensive line is still in a really bad position, and he's running for his life all the time. So I think Sean McVay will capitalize on that.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I can't really disagree with you at this point. I will say that if the Bears decide to make a coaching change at some point during the season, I think it's just more of a tell on just how poor of an organization they are, top to bottom. You can't expect to make changes as often as they make changes and have success. You got to give some people some time to cook. That just kind of is what it is.
They've interestingly though, like, positioned themselves if they do want to get rid of Eberflus, like that will be an attractive job, and you have
for sure.
There's a difference between taking over the Panthers or the Bears. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, and Aaron, you make a great point there. Like it's not so much of a, hey, you're taking over, Jay Cutler in the fucking Chicago Bears who have nothing else on offense. Now you've got a very young offensive team, and you build a little bit on that offensive line, and it could be something fantastic.
Exactly.
So it's definitely an attractive position, but you got to get the right person in there to get them motivated.
And if they somehow came out like guns blazing this year, you can be like, all right, great, we'll ride this. So
yeah, no, you're
this year isn't Chicago. Like
can't argue with it at all. But at this point, I'm still going to stick strong on the fact that I do not believe in Caleb Williams. I don't think he's got the right attitude. I think the skill set is there to a point, but through 3 weeks of the season, he's had one decent week. He hasn't had a great week yet. He had one decent week and 2 very, very abysmal weeks.
Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, Malik Willis.
Right.
Don't give up on it in 3 games.
Yeah, you can't give up on him in 3 games, but you can give up on somebody that is in the Giants organization because the Giants don't know how to develop talent.
Bears.
Or I'm sorry,
Bears?
not the Giants.
Bears?
The Bears.
Yeah.
But you know what I meant.
Yeah, and Ohio State's never had a good quarterback, and CJ Stroud looks pretty good. Like these things we.
I'm a Steelers fan. We're riding with Justin Fields, who was a Ohio State quarterback.
Yeah. Justin Fields was left for dead too. That's actually another great example of somebody who was left for dead.
Justin Fields is a Georgia Bulldog.
Either way, I think when it comes to quarterback play, I think you have to look at the organization as a whole and how they're able to develop talent. And if Caleb Williams is going to be great, it's not going to be in Chicago because Chicago does not develop talent. At least on the offensive side of the ball. They have never done that.
I'll save time for judgment.
Hey, that's fair. I'm taking the Rams this week. When it comes to a pick where you're not sure what you're going to do, as a collective, we have always defaulted who is the best quarterback, who is the better coach, and the Rams have both of those tenfold. So I'm going to take.
Oh yeah, no. For this, yeah, I think we all have the Rams, right?
Yeah. Well, we gotta see what Corey's going to do.
Something fishy is going on This line opened at Bears -1.5, which doesn't make sense to me. I don't know how you look at these two teams, and Vegas says make the Bears the favorite in this game. Regardless, they could play this game on the fucking moon.
So we had that example last week with the Saints-Eagles game. The money moved to the Saints. So I'm only pointing that out as I think that's interesting.
It is interesting, and the money's moving towards the Bears at -3 is what the line is now. And Vegas is giving you even odds on -3. It just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense to me. Vegas is like, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead and take the Bears -3. We'll give you even money on it, you stupid fucks. Give me the Rams. Like, this is, yeah.
That's funny as shit. All right. So no swaying there. Everybody's got the Rams. Now let's toss it to a couple teams that I think the majority of us thought were going to win last week. We've got the Eagles taking things down to Tampa.
Wait, the Eagles did win.
Yeah,
I'm just talking about the Bucks versus the Broncos.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I said a couple teams that we thought were going to win, not just one.
Oh, well, when you said that, I thought you meant both teams in this game lost, but the Eagles won.
The Eagles should have lost. So I guess that's kind of where my head was at. They should have lost to the Saints last week.
I got you.
Anybody who watched that game, the Eagles should not have won that football game. But Saquon Barkley decided to be a dog, as he usually is. And
I shouldn't have eaten 6 bowls of Cinnamon Toast Crunch after the Monday Night Football game, but I did. All right, I did, because it made me feel okay.
But but that's a great decision because Cinnamon Toast Crunch is the greatest breakfast cereal.
I looked at myself today in the mirror. I was like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?"
We have very differentiating bowl sizes at my house. So my whole question is:
so I saw a lot of head shaking to the left and the right. So are we gonna have to have a breakfast cereal draft?
It's not the best, Bobby. By the way,
no, but that's a great draft right there.
If you're ranking Cinnamon Toast Crunch over Reese's Peanut Butter Puffs, your palate's bad.
Facts. Also, just Captain Crunch peanut butter. Like,
is like. So both of those are peanut butter based decisions.
Crunch berries are great.
I think we're gonna have to do a breakfast cereal draft at some point this season. So
right now,
yeah.
While we live stream the first London game.
I've been ready for this.
Yeah, I mean, we were all born.
Let me put this. I will live stream the London game. Listen, I'm going to put this out into the chat right now. I can eat more cereal than you.
Corey, I know I've had this conversation with you because I think it's a very interesting thing to ask another human being. What food?
You sure about that?
That's what I was getting ready to say, Todd. Are you sure about that?
And you eat more than any other person. And Corey, without blinking, is cereal.
Cereal and chicken salad. There's no question.
Let's do it. Me and you. Let's do it. Me and you can go toe to toe.
I would love to be a part of this.
My answer is Caesar salad.
Well,
nobody can eat Caesar salad.
I would never take the salad challenge, but I will take the breakfast cereal challenge.
So
I fucking hate salad.
So it's not about bowls consumed. At this level, we have to agree upon a cereal and milk
milk box ratio.
No, not how much milk you put in per bowl. That's fine. This is boxes consumed, and also we have to be utilizing the same milk.
2%.
I'm a skim man myself.
Oh, this is an easy dub for me if you're drinking skim milk with cereal. Let's do it. I could drink a whole gallon of skim milk with cereal.
Todd's over here going, I'll take 2% and lap you. What a dog.
I'm ready.
You guys have never really seen me eat, fellas. You don't know.
I know Todd can eat. This would be a challenge for me, but I would be so down for this.
But Todd, for 6 years, every day when I got home from school, I just housed like 3 bowls of cereal as like a snack. That's what I did.
We'll get there. We'll figure it out.
Oh, that's the other thing I can eat more than anyone is pizza rolls for the same cause.
Nope.
All right, let's do it for charity. Absolutely we'll take bets. Let's do it for charity.
I don't know if you understand my pizza roll game. but like I can house 40 pizza rolls and just like go run.
So
a
what are we
mile.
saying? Within the first quarter, we have to put a time limit on this. So like within the first
40?
quarter
Yeah,
of a
that's no
football game.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
Like I used to eat 40 pizza rolls as a midnight snack.
That's a
with
lot.
like 3 Diet Cokes and then just chill
because
out.
it
God,
makes
that
you feel
sounds
better.
good.
The Diet
God, that
Coke.
sounds good.
Bob,
But
set
they're
it up.
Diet Cokes.
Set it up. Challenge accepted.
All right, let's get this. All right, what's the next?
All right, we've digressed. We have sincerely digressed.
I gotta get into it. We got Todd.
We're a
We gotta
bunch of
set this
fat
up,
kids.
buddy.
All right. So we got the Eagles on the road versus the Bucks. Let me roll through the chat here since obviously our stream chat is not rolled up. I want to make sure we got everything right here. Okay, so we don't have any picks just yet. Cool. I'll lead this one off, guys. Eagles Bucks, man, I was super high on Baker last week. I started Baker Mayfield over Dak Prescott in fantasy, and goddamn it, was that a fucking mistake. It was a mistake up until 8 minutes left in the Dallas Ravens game where Dak decided to throw for 250 yards and 3 touchdowns in the last 8 minutes of the game, or whatever the hell it was. But I gotta take the Eagles here. Saquon Barkley has just been having the year that I thought he was going to have, and I was too much of a chicken shit to not draft him in every single league with my first-round pick because I had high picks in each league, and I was like, man, I feel like Saquon's going to have a good year, but like I just can't trust it at this point because he's been there. He's aged a little bit. I don't know if he's going to do it, and he has done it, and he has been phenomenal in every single aspect of it. So, I'm riding the Eagles here just for the simple fact that I don't think the Buccaneers defense can stop Saquon Barkley. So I'm taking the Eagles. Corey or Aaron, who you got?
I'm gonna go the other side, man. I'm gonna take the Bucks here. I think I don't want to overreact to last week. I think the Buccaneers were due for a stinker, and they had a stinker. Like that's what last week was. And I think the Eagles have barely played to what they should with the talent on that roster. And although they've gotten some wins, they haven't done anything impressive. And I've seen the Buccaneers offense ceiling be a lot higher. I've seen their defensive ceiling be a lot higher. I think even if it's a correction from the first 2 weeks, I still think that Buccaneers team's better.
Wow. Strong statement. Corey.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time in the 2024 season, we have fraudulent enemy number 1.
The Eagles?
And it resides in the city of brotherly love. The Philadelphia Eagles are fraudulent enemy number 1. Without A.J. Brown, as Aaron says, the straw that stirs the drink is gone. Obviously, he's going to come back, and this team is going.
Break. I'll be right back.
Yeah, go ahead, baby. You good? I don't know, man. There's something going on. I never really liked Sirianni. I never did. There's just something like kind of too quick up. I don't know where all the hype is. Obviously, they went to the Super Bowl. The team was loaded. They could be out over their skis here pretty quickly from a salary cap perspective up in the next few years. But I think the Bucs have been more consistent. Obviously, they got blown out by Denver, but I'm gonna call that more of an outlier than the norm. And give me Tampa.
Love it.
Yeah, fellas. Jalen Hurts in the last calendar year, most turnovers by a quarterback in the NFL.
Ooh, it's almost like my initial feelings were correct. It's almost like his first year, I shit on this guy a lot. And I ate crow over it the last couple of seasons.
Well, he still turned the ball over. He was just a good fantasy quarterback.
Well,
like his first, you know what I mean? Like, so everyone was like, "Hey,
Todd, do you remember what my analysis of Jalen Hurts was? Do you recall what like my points on him were?
for some reason, my head tells me that we talked about him being a good garbage time quarterback, but
it was more so that when shit hits the fan, his eyes only go downfield.
yeah,
like deep downfield, and his eyes don't go to where like things can happen to where you're moving the chains still. Yeah, you're not going for the home run, but you're moving the chains, or you're making progress down the field with the football. I don't know that that's necessarily the case for him anymore, but nonetheless, I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know what we're gonna get out of him, and I feel like the Bucs have just been more consistent. What do you think, Todd?
yeah. I think my main thing is, we're talking about most likely no AJ Brown, more than likely no Devonta Smith.
Yeah, it didn't practice today.
Yeah, I mean, Dallas Goedert really reaped the benefits of 170 yards last week, 73 of that being from one reception, but unbelievable game from him. Todd Bowles, as a coach in some capacity, is 9-4 against the Eagles.
Wow.
And I believe that. And I believe that Nick Sirianni is an absolute train wreck of a head coach. I just obviously shit went down in that game between New Orleans and Philly, but like he has no control of the sidelines, right? Like I think that's a big thing. I think that you look at the cohesion of that roster. It just there's something missing, right? I can't quite put my finger on what the missing. Yeah, sure, right. Well, Bobby and I talked about that too. Is like you could very much see that offense moves different without him, specifically just him as the center.
He was the
really believe that.
Yeah.
Like it moves different, and I think that. I mean, we watched them. I mean, obviously Philly was in a much different position going into the playoffs last year, but this is the same roster for Tampa Bay, right? There's not a lot of changes, and really Philly hasn't made that many changes either, other than draft picks, right? And Saquon. Yeah. So, I'm taking the Bucs. I think Corey's sniffing out something here that people need to keep their eye on with what's going on in Philadelphia. I think that they're we're going to be talking about them at the halfway point of being like there's going to be a fire sale.
So, are you taking the Bucs here, Todd?
I did take the Bucs, yes, sir.
To build on your Sirianni point real quickly, they basically went through a divorce last season where it was like they're going to fire him, and then they didn't because coaching carousel. And like, to give me an example of anyone what that works out.
Yeah.
I think it's the same thing that's going on in Dallas too, right? With McCarthy, you're kind of seeing some similar instances between the two.
Well, that one works out because the person at the wheel is 85 years old.
Yeah, he's more worried about dicks than football.
All right, boys. Next here. Okay, so we're gonna start the 4:00 games here. Let's speed this up a little bit since I gotta get up early. We got the New England Patriots taking things on the road to San Francisco, taking on the 49ers. A absolutely bruised, beaten up, and tattered 49ers team that is. So, Aaron, who you got?
Wait, who are the 49ers? Oh, the Patriots. Yeah.
Patriots.
I'm taking the 49ers. This is a very solid get right game in San Francisco. I still think they're going to be there at the end of the year. I don't know that this will be a blowout by any means, but yeah, give me the 49ers.
Cool. Todd.
It's so weird that both of these teams are 1-2 playing each other. That's it. That's what
for both sides.
Yeah. I'm taking the Niners. Also, Christian McCaffrey's in Germany getting that Achilles looked at. I think that's something people need to be really considering.
Anytime anyone goes to Germany, it's not a good thing.
The best doctor for Achilles is in Deutschland, and that's where Christian McCaffrey currently is.
You will not play another snap.
Didn't know it was an SS doctor, but Corey, what do you got?
It's interesting. The first 3 weeks, the largest spread of the week has lost every time.
Ooh, interesting.
This is the largest spread of the week at 10 points.
Ooh, that seems like a nice tease.
I'm taking the Niners. There's no way. There's no way I'm taking a 10-point dog on a money line bet. There's no
Build
way.
up for a come down.
Yeah, that's tough. Yeah, I think the 49ers are more experienced, better coached. So we're just gonna base it off of that. They at the end of the day they do have more talent, but this is the NFL. We've seen a lot of parity this year. This is a game that if the Patriots did end up beating the 49ers at this point in week 4 with how everything's gone in the season, I would not be shocked. So we'll just put it that way. I'm taking the 49ers, but Patriots can win this football game. So
Damn, just so much shade in the chat for the Bengals. You hate to see it.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right. Well, let's speaking of the Bengals, let's talk about the guy that absolutely shredded them last week. We got
Where's the shade in the chat?
They can't even beat a high school team.
He's a Patriots fan, though, so I think that's a little bit of
the joke is the Patriots.
Yeah, Ariel's he's a Patriots fan. So, well, we do have the Commanders taking things on the road to pre-Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals. This is obviously in Phoenix, so this is going to be an interesting game. The Commanders can put up some points, boys.
Flagstaff. It's in Flagstaff.
Close enough. Anyways.
No, it's not in Flagstaff. I'm sorry. That's way wrong. It's Scottsdale?
Scottsdale, Arizona.
Scottsdale.
Yeah, close enough. Still close enough. Either way, I don't even know what the fuck Flagstaff is.
Way north, like 2.5 hours north of Phoenix.
Sick. Well, we got the Commanders taking on the Cardinals. Todd, who you got?
I'm taking the Cardinals, fellas. I'm taking the Birds.
Okay. Reasoning?
I think for a 1-2 record, I think that they've played very well well enough all 3 weeks. They hung with the Lions really legitimately until there were 2 minutes left. Kyler Murray has played very well thus far. I think that the combo of James Conner and Trey Benson is pretty nice. I think Trey Benson's acclimated to the league well. And we watched Washington always give up points, right? And I think that Kyler Murray will capitalize on that, and I think that Arizona could probably stop them at least a couple of times. So at home, take the Cardinals.
All right, fair enough. Aaron.
Yeah, just save some time. I just want to echo basically everything Todd just said about the Cardinals offense. I'm taking the Cardinals too. I think the Rally Towel Sports bet of the week should just be parlaying a Kyler Murray, Daniels anytime touchdown together. I think it's going to be a really exciting game. But I think the Commanders had a Monday night victory that they didn't expect to fall into. And I think they're partying a little too hard on a short week. And I'll take the Cardinals at home.
Sure. Corey.
Yeah, this is going to be the most fun game to watch if you hate defense. Biggest over of the week at 50.5. But I think even like the Commanders' defense is trash. The Cardinals' defense isn't that good. But I think it is a little bit better than the Commanders. So give me the home team. Interesting point here. This opened at a 5.5-point spread. It has shrunk down to a 3-point spread for the home team, the Arizona Cardinals. So anytime we see money move like that, give me the original opening. Give me the Cardinals here by a touchdown.
Interesting point, though, Corey, is those lines come out after Sunday Night Football, or like really get set after Sunday Night Football. And I think the public is high on the Commanders because of Monday night.
Exactly. Sure. So, yeah, I think that Vegas is – well, so here's the other point. Vegas is giving you a -3 spread for the Cardinals, but it's at -120.
Right.
You know what I mean? So they're taking a little bit more juice on that while, adjusting for the money that's coming in, which makes me even more confident in Arizona. That said, as I sit in the cellar of our pick'em.
So Cliff Kingsbury, obviously coming from Cardinals tree. I'm taking the Commanders here. I'll lone wolf this with some confidence here, boys.
I love it.
Everything that we saw from Jay Daniels last week. they went up against a much, in my opinion, a better defense than the Cardinals possesses from a roster standpoint.
I don't know. I'll cede to these guys, but
from a roster, not from an execution standpoint, from a roster standpoint, I think the Bengals do have the potential to have a decent defense that is higher tiered than the Cardinals defense this year. With that being said, I think that the Commanders this season have displayed that they can put up points. I don't think that's an issue. And the Cardinals have had some games where they have not done well on the offensive side of the ball. The Commanders in all 3 games that they've played have showed that they can put up points. And I don't think this is going to be an issue against the Cardinals defense. I'm gonna ride the hot hand with everything that this Commanders offense has going for them. Noah Brown is a fucking defense killer. And it was proved last week. Like every 3rd and long, every time they needed somebody to catch a ball for a first down, this guy was there. He has proved it week in and week out, not only just with the Commanders, but also last season. Todd and I had this conversation as well. Noah Brown is sure hands. He's going to move the chains for you. And it's going to be a fun game to watch personally. I think this is going to be the most fun 4:00 game to watch, even though it's Commanders Cardinals. But I'm going to take the Commanders here. I'm going to take the young guy. I think I'm going to ride the hot hand and just kind of take a leap against you guys you guys are all riding the same. And I think this is a good game to take a chance on. So
benefit of going last.
All right. Well,
to Bobby's credit, he's jumped in on some.
I know. I'm just giving him a hard time. I'm giving him a hard time.
Yeah.
Aaron, you might not be able to see, but he did wink when he said that. So.
Yeah.
Oh, I can see you guys now. It's
okay. Fuck yeah.
Your face
no, I'm just stroking out.
That hot spot had to warm up. It was a warm spot to start.
All right. So the next game we have.
What about buttered sausages? Let's talk about buttered sausages.
We could. So do you have to have wide eyes when you talk about buttered sausages? I can do that.
Gary Busey, baby.
Well, speaking of buttered sausages, we've got Patrick Mahomes.
I don't know why it doesn't make sense, but it's still funny.
We got Patrick Mahomes headed out to Los Angeles to take on the Justin Herbert-less Chargers. God, the Chiefs have been probably the most frustrating team to watch this year. Just considering you never want to blame things on officiating, but man, the officiating has made it hard
not to at this point.
Right?
Yeah. What do you mean? 2 of their 3 wins have been attributed to no calls.
And I would agree with that.
Or calls.
Yeah.
Calls. Yeah.
Like last week, they should have lost to the Falcons.
Well, let me hold on. I'm going to put a hand up here. I want to say one thing. Yes, that should have been pass interference. The Falcons should have had 4 attempts from the 1-yard line. Yes, all true. There still would have been at least like 90 to 120 seconds on the clock. So ask Buffalo Bills fans how that works out.
Sure. But I mean, you got Bijan Robinson and a quarterback that can get it done. So
No, I'm not denying that they wouldn't have scored a touchdown. What I'm saying is there would have been too much time left on the clock for Patrick Mahomes to drive down the field.
Yeah, but like at that point, I would have wanted to see that. I think it would have like made me feel a little bit better about what happened.
100,000,000% yes.
So, like, I would have rather I would have had more respect for the Chiefs if they had an opportunity to win the game and lost instead of being given the game. But
is Herbert 100% out for this one?
High ankle sprain. He's day to day.
Yeah. Actually, I thought the reason they shut him down in the second half was to keep him good for this game.
Wouldn't surprise me. This is a bigger game than playing the Steelers.
Yeah,
like this is the Kansas City Chiefs. So
First divisional game.
It's not only divisional, but it's going against the 2-time champs. So
isn't it interesting that, and I feel like we always get at least one early. No divisional AFC North games yet.
Not yet. They're all in the back half of the season.
Very late this year, right?
Yeah. Usually they're early, so we don't get to beat the shit out of each other early. It's late.
They thought they'd save us the black eyes, but it hasn't really worked out too well.
When everybody's already bruised and
What about
tattered,
black
we're just gonna go ahead and just off everybody and run them out into traffic at the end of the season before the playoffs. So that's just kind of how it goes. But
what's the spread on this one?
I don't know what the spread is, but I'm gonna go ahead and lead this one off. I'm gonna take the Kansas City Referees over the Chargers, just for the simple fact that this isn't a game that they should lose. So I got the Chiefs. Corey, who you got?
I'm taking the Chiefs as well. I'm gonna echo some points made by Todd McShay earlier this week. Where the fuck is Travis Kelce? I mean, this.
I did see some stuff where people were like, Travis Kelce's out of shape because he's been partying and he's got a popular girlfriend now.
Yeah.
And he's not really focused on football, and he'll become Travis Kelce later in the year. And
that's what Todd McShay was saying.
All made a ton of sense. So,
yeah, that was kind of the essence. Is like, what do you?
I mean, they're 3-0.
Yeah, they're 3-0.
Like, do you really need Travis Kelce to be Travis Kelce right now?
Clearly not. He has 40 yards receiving or something stupid like that, right? Like he has, I don't know. It's something ridiculous.
Save LeBron for the playoffs, and not to compare the two, but like
this is his last season. This is his last season.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Cool. So Corey, you got the Chiefs. Todd.
Yeah. No Rashawn Slater or Joe Alt looking like for even if it is Justin Herbert. So if I'm Jim Harbaugh, maybe I just throw Taylor Heineke out there. Right? Seriously. Think further than a divisional matchup. I'm taking the Chiefs.
Not checkers.
Yeah. See.
Aaron.
I'm actually really glad that I did not start this because I was very tempted to take the Chargers.
I wouldn't.
So here's the thought process. Thursday night primetime, Sunday night primetime, Monday night primetime, just a random 4:00 game. I think you're going to see a slow, lethargic.
No, Bengals was not primetime, by the way.
Oh no! You're right.
Sunday.
Right.
It was Sunday afternoon.
But it was.
Yeah,
it was.
Right. But it was like the game of the right.
It was almost exclusively nationally televised.
Yes. You are correct. Yeah, that's right. But for me, it felt like it was a national game.
Yeah.
But either way, like all eyeballs, like that was like the game of the week in the sense of like, oh, what a fucking matchup. And the reason I almost want to push back just a little bit, not to be like a Chiefs defender here, because I'm not. Because all eyeballs are on their games, these calls I think look a lot worse than when they're bundled up in a 1:00. Like there's missed calls that happen in these 1:00 games in the end zone, but there's just 10 games stacked on top of it. And I think we let those ones not bother us as much because there's less distraction. I wanted to take the Chargers here, guys, for that reason. But I have to take the Chiefs. The Chargers are banged up, but I will take up until about 12:55 the Chargers spread.
Well, yeah, I mean, we can't take anything away from what J.K. Dobbins has done. Like he has looked that running game from the Chargers has looked incredible. The Chiefs are going to look bad in this game, I guarantee you. Yeah. I mean, are you sure you want to take the Chiefs or you want to stick with the Chargers?
No, I'm going to take the Chiefs. I'm not.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure. I don't want you to go against the old gut. That's
one of those things that, like, if I knew Herbert was going, I probably would take the Chargers here.
Okay, fair enough. Well, let's get to a game you're a little bit more passionate about. We got the Browns taking things on the road to Vegas. Aaron, I'll toss it right back to you, man. Who you got?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's not really a secret here. Like, the team does not look good. We're battling a lot of injuries, especially with Myles Garrett's banged up. The entire offensive line is banged up. I'm not really sure who we're going to get in this game. We've, for whatever reason, really struggled against the NFC East. Just kind of kicking our shit in.
Sure.
I'm going to take the Browns in this one. I haven't seen enough out of the Raiders to, like, the Browns are going to win 6 games this year. This is one of them. And it's not going to look good, but they're going they're going to win this game 22-19.
Interesting
And
score. I'll hold you
hate
to it. Corey, who you got?
So I think a fun little parlay for the 4:00 slate would be a Jane Daniels, Kyler Murray anytime touchdown, as well as a Max Crosby, Myles Garrett anytime sack. I think that would be a lot of fun. Aaron, what did you say the score of this was going to be? 22-19?
22-19.
Not a score got me. Just checking on that real quick. Let's look at the data on this one. Raiders open as a half-point favorite. That line is moved to -2. Vegas has only given up 5 more cents on every dollar for that. At -110, at -2, that gives me more confidence in Vegas in this one. Just looking at it,
the thing is when the Raiders are favored, I don't think they play well. I think they're that team that sneaks up on you.
I get that. I just think I don't see. I've seen Vegas. I don't know. This is a fucked up game.
Well, if it helps you, Corey, I don't like either of these teams in this game. I'm gonna ride with the home team. I'm taking the fucking Raiders. So.
Me too. You can put me down for the Raiders too.
All right, give me the Browns. Fuck it. Give me the Browns.
I just want you guys to know no one will be happy watching this game.
No,
they'll win. They'll win, and I'll go. I fucking.
What do you? What do you think about that parlay?
I don't like the Myles Garrett part of it. Max Crosby's gonna have like 2 sacks at least.
All right.
Myles is banged up right now, dude. He's more of a decoy, unfortunately.
All right, so this is kind of like a true split here. Aaron's got the Browns. Corey has the Browns. Josh has the Browns, and Tez has the Browns. And then me and Todd have the Raiders. Pops has the Raiders. So, Ariel, you are the deciding factor on whether or not this is a true split. Now, let's move on to the Sunday night game. I think this is going to actually be a pretty freaking good game. We've got the Bills taking things over to the East Coast. Well, more so, I guess, the East Coast. Baltimore taking on the Ravens.
Armpit of America.
Yes.
Baltimore.
The armpit of America.
Let's fucking go.
Baltimore.
Let's go Ravens. Let's go Ravens.
Yeah. Bills, Ravens. This is in Baltimore. I will be the first person to admit I was completely wrong about Josh Allen in the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen has been incredible for the first 3 weeks of the season. He has definitely
he's the MVP, to be honest.
He's exceeded my expectations.
Right now, yeah.
He has done a lot more with that team than I thought was ever possible, and I will absolutely eat crow on that. I'm going to ride the Bills here, guys. I'm taking the Bills in this one versus the Ravens. The Buffalo Bills are absolutely hot. The Ravens have been up and down, and I'm going to ride with the consistent team here. I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills. Whoever wants to take it next can have it.
Just give a little interesting data here that the Ravens opened at -2.5. That line remains at -2.5, but the juice has moved from -115 to -110, meaning that the money has gone towards Buffalo, or that the bets have gone towards Buffalo a little bit. It's really tough to go 4-0, and for that reason, I think Baltimore is an above 500 football team when all things are said and done. Put a feather in the cap here for the Ravens on this season. I got Baltimore winning this one at home.
Todd. Yeah, this is a gross one to pick.
I'm taking the Ravens too. I want to take the Bills because I'd like to see Baltimore lose, but I got to go with I'm going with my gut here, fellas. This is just a gut shot. I don't have any logic here, and logic would sway me towards the Bills, and I'm hitting the gut shot here.
Sure,
Yeah.
Aaron.
I'll persuade myself into logic and let Bobby take the lone wolf here. I'm going to take the Ravens too.
Wow, back-to-back lone wolves for me. That's
just
nuts.
to echo a little bit of my cohorts.
That's how you
here.
get back to the cellar, Bob. It misses you.
I mean,
We'll see.
When we're talking,
It's either going to take me to the cellar or take me to the top.
That's right, baby.
Yeah, no, I got the Ravens.
Wow, you guys are really leaving me hanging out here. It's all right. It's all right. Confident. All right, and then for the first snooze fest on Monday Night Football, we've got the Tennessee Titans taking things down to Miami. Yikes! That's all I have to say.
Every minute
Yikes.
of it.
Up until 8:15.
Up until 8:15 when the real Monday Night Football starts happening. Yeah, we got the Titans on the road in Miami. Corey, I'll let you lead this one off, man. He got
This game sucks.
yes, it's terrible.
All right, so let's look at the data. This opened as the Dolphins as a home dog by half a point at -105. The line has since moved to -1. Dolphins at home -1. Call this. This is where Brian Callahan gets his first win as an NFL head coach. I think that I don't know if Tennessee scores more than a touchdown, or excuse me, Miami scores more than a touchdown. I think the only reason why Tennessee has been able to compete in these games has been their defense. Obviously, the offense hasn't been anything to write home about. But there's something about Tyler Boyd in prime time that is just clutch. And I just see a cool Will Levis to Tyler Boyd moment here. I don't know. Just a gut feeling that I'm going with. And give me the Titans on the road, sneaking a win. Brian Callahan gets his first win. What's going on in Miami? That's the storyline. I think that, we know what's going on in Miami, but give me the Titans.
All right.
I don't feel good about it.
Aaron.
Yeah, again, this is just a bad game all around, unfortunately, and maybe could have been a good game if Tua was in there, but I'm really on the fence here, guys, because I think the Dolphins have more playmakers, but I think that it's going to be a field goal game. Like it's just going to be a field goal game. Like each team is going to get inside the 40 and kick field goals. Give me who's the home team?
Dolphins.
Give me the Dolphins.
Todd.
How can you even say that Miami's going to get the ball on Tennessee's side of I don't know. How many times did they get
started to 30, dude?
what did you say?
They started to 30.
Oh. Yeah, but you got to get a first down. They didn't do that, but what, 5 times against the Seahawks? Something like that?
I think you might see some Tyler Huntley. I think Tyler Huntley is going to play some football.
Snoop.
You think so? You think Snoop's going to get out there? I don't know. What's the other option?
He's got to play.
Tim Boyle or Skylar Thompson, right?
I think they'll be able to move the ball.
Hey, Bobby, real quick. What's your price to send Russ to Miami?
That's a great question.
They come to you with a 5th rounder. You take it?
I say 4th will do it.
Yeah, I would say like 3rd on the high end, like 4th rounder. I'm
no. What's the cheapest that you would take? Is what I'm saying. They say, hey, I've got a 5th round pick. Give us Russ.
I would say 4th round pick.
So a 5th rounder, you'd say no, thank you. I'll keep.
I'd probably say no. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a free pick. So, I mean, if they're like, hey, fuck off, like all right, I'll take the 5th. Like, chill out. Like,
I mean, it's a logical destination,
but like
and
you gotta see what else you can get. Like you can't just take the first offer that comes about.
I would. You paid him $1 million. You're not paying.
I was gonna say, yeah, like it's a free.
I mean, the
pick,
Steelers
sure.
draft incredibly well, so any draft pick is valuable in the Steelers organization.
It's an upgrade from a guy wearing pads and never touching the fucking field.
You're absolutely correct.
That's how I see it.
You're absolutely correct. But I just
sitting up for nothing.
In my opinion, like I think Russ still has a little bit of ball left, so I think a 5th round pick is a little cheap.
Nope.
But
Dolphins fans, let's swim.
Dolphins country.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. He fucking learned to talk to dolphins. It might short his motherboard though if he gets in the water.
That's so funny. All right, Todd, who you got?
I'm taking the Titans. Also, Russell Wilson's not allowed close enough to public pools, so I don't know how that works down in South Beach.
Christ.
You have to take that into consideration.
So I'm gonna fade Corey and Todd, and I'm also gonna ride with the Dolphins here. I think Snoop Huntley's got enough to get it done down there in Miami. This is a game that's gonna be complete dog shit, and whenever there's a game of this caliber, I'm gonna ride with the home team.
That's the fucked up thing is we don't know that Snoop's starting. If I knew he was starting, I'd probably take the Dolphins.
He's starting.
Me too.
I think he has to.
He's starting. The fact that you guys don't believe that he's starting is the reason you guys.
I just don't know that he is. That's the thing.
They said it today that he is more than likely going to start.
He said he took snaps for the first time today.
Yeah, they said but he's basically going to start because he's all they've got.
Do you guys remember Josh Dobbs last year? That's what we're going to say.
You remember Snoop Huntley 2 years ago? That's what we're
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Are you referring to Pro Bowler Snoop
All right,
Huntley?
so let's move on. All right, let's move on to the final game of the Pick'em. We've got the Seahawks on the road in Detroit. We actually have a Monday night game that is going to be worth a shit. Who hasn't started in a minute?
Okay.
Oh, Aaron, let's leave this one off. Who you got?
I think one of my call outs at the beginning of the year was I think the Seahawks are going to be much better than people expect. And so far I feel pretty good about that. I think
they've been pretty solid.
They've defied a little bit of expectations. I think you're going to get that new coach bump out of the Seahawks. But at the end of the day, I had the Detroit Lions pegged as a 13-win team, and I'm just going to keep picking them until, if I go 12-5 on that, I'm fine with that. But until I see otherwise, they've had their growing pains this year, but I think everybody has. I think everyone's kind of taken their medicine a little bit this year in an odd way. There's no team, even the undefeated teams. I don't think there's anybody that we can sit here and look and go, nope, I'm sure about it. I'm just going to take the Lions every week and go 12-5.
Sure. Corey.
Yeah, that place is going to be fucking rocking. Going to be absolutely jumping in Ford Field. I'm excited. I'm excited for Detroit fans. I know that they felt like they could be 3-0 right now. Honestly, is probably how they feel. Also, let's not forget last year against Seattle.
Or at least to expectation.
What's that?
I said, while not looking great, and at least to what the expectation.
Yeah, I think Jared Goff has had some suspect play up to this point,
struggled.
to be honest. There's been some throws where you're like, what the fuck are you doing? All while at the same time, it's like, all right, Sam Laporta is starting to get some things going. And you've seen flashes of J-Mo. Like, this team can put a complete game together. I'm not saying that that's going to happen here. I think this is going to be a really, really good football game. I'm excited to watch it. But give me the home team. When in a coin flip, I typically lean that way. Mike McDonald, I think, is going to be the new darling of the NFL here pretty soon, especially if Seattle goes out and wins this football game on Monday night. That said, I am going to take the Lions. I know, like, they are going to Ford Field will become one of the loudest stadiums in football very soon, especially if the Lions continue to be successful. It's a dome. It already helps. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's built for it, and so are the Lions.
Todd.
Yeah, so Seattle's 3-0 against a rookie quarterback in week 1. And then an overtime win against the Patriots in week 2, and then a decimated Dolphins in week 3. I think this is the first true
Good call.
Like, let's lock in, let's put up or shut up here.
Good call.
I think that I think this is McDonald's first like true test of a football game, right? And what better way to do it than fucking prime time in a sold out Ford Field. I am taking the Lions here. I do think this is going to be a pretty exciting game, though. From what I saw of Seattle defensively, they're kind of getting back to the smash mouth football that they used to play, like in the Dan Quinn defensive coordinator era. I think that's really exciting. I think Seattle's fans are going to eat that shit up. They play loud and fast. I think that's kind of been lacking the last couple of years. So I think this is going to be if you're not watching this game, what the fuck are you doing? Right. Like if that's you're making the choice. So
best game of the week.
Yeah.
I agree.
I mean, I think this is a Monday night matchup that, a lot of us weren't expecting to be like super awesome, but like, it's going to be really good. The NFL kind of got this one right. I'm going to take the Lions as well. I'm not going to fade this. I think the Lions offense has a lot to prove. And I think Aiden Hutchinson in that defense has a lot to prove as well.
Aiden Hutchinson has played pretty well so far this year.
Yeah, he's played phenomenal. And, I think this is a pretty awesome team to, really solidify the fact that you are a contender in this league, especially with what DK Metcalf and, with Kenneth Walker going out, Zach Charbonnet has played some really good football. It's going to be a fun Monday night game to watch. Obviously going into the season, you're like Seahawks, Lions, kind of but like right now, week 4 in the moment, like this is going to be a really nice football game to watch. And what better way to watch it than in prime time on Monday night? Yeah.
Hey, we threw out Josh Allen as the MVP currently. I think Aiden Hutchinson's currently Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah,
league in sacks.
Yeah, Corey. So far, he's kind of lived up to your question mark of where the fuck were you?
Yes.
Yeah,
100%.
he's done a really nice job. And it's exciting to see that the Lions are getting so much attention. Like a small market team, they're doing some great things. And, a lot of those small market teams don't get a lot of the attention that they deserve. And obviously they did some good stuff last year, and Aiden Hutchinson is continuing to carry that torch this year with, his stellar performance. So they've been an exciting team to watch since Dan Campbell's become the coach of that football team. And it's just awesome to see. So, but gentlemen, that's a podcast. It's 11 o'clock. So
yeah, let's get the fuck out of here.
Let's hang it up. We'll let everybody get on with their evening chat. Thanks everybody for stopping by. As always,
love you guys.
We'll be back here next week with our week 5 pick'em. But until then, best of luck in your fantasy leagues. Make the right choices. I did not last week. It's fine. We'll get over it as we always do. And I also added another league. Thanks to Corey, I'm now in a dynasty football league.
Thanks, Bob.
Because I am a degenerate, and I just love throwing money away at things that I'm never going to win. So,
okie dokie.
It is what it is. But yes, we love you guys. We'll see you guys next Wednesday.
I see Corey didn't want that smoke. Didn't want to invite me. So.
I put it into the group chat.
I didn't see it.
All right, well.
Too slow, baby. But there was multiple teams available, Corey. You told me that on the phone.
They gone. Oh, Aaron, I might have one for you at the end of the year. Well, I'll put it out to you.
I actually would. I'm not in a dynasty league.
I have not been. I've never been in the dynasty league, so that's the only reason I kind of jumped at it. I was like, man, never been in a dynasty. I want to try this out, see what it's like.
Your roster's already set, but
if it's 3 or 4 years in and I'm still not digging it, I might just tell you like, hey, I'm out. Like
the only way out's in a box, Bob.
No,
Only way else.
Dynasty
That's not
leagues.
how this works. I could just ghost you.
You gotta pay 2 leagues or two years for
every
Dynasty
Wednesday.
leagues. That keeps everyone invested.
2 years of dues. I like that.
That'd be a good way to keep people tied in.
That's the only way to do it.
I like that a lot. All right.
All right, chat. We're out of here. Love you. We'll see you next week. Peace.
Peace.